If everything you tried in life, if everything you do went easy, you wouldn't respect it. You wouldn't want it. You wouldn't desire it. Anyone you know that got their first car for free without working for it, they either crashed it or it's dirty or they don't appreciate it. If you know people who paid for their own college compared to those who their father or their mother paid for it and they never had any repercussions, the ones that paid for it in so many cases fight for it because every word, every teacher, every classroom costs them hard-earned money. People who don't pay attention. People who don't work hard for something they want don't get the results. So don't look for the easy button in life, because I don't know anybody who's had the easy road. I'm 50. I had friends that I knew that were trust fund children. You guys aren't going to be trust fund children. You guys can work for opportunity. I have trust fund people that I know. I'm sorry that, and if you are one and you're successful and happy on the inside, I just haven't met you yet.
Need motivation?
Watch a Top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Carmichael, and I make these videos because in my first business, I was making $300 a month. I quit on my business partner, and the thing that saved me was studying the stories of super successful entrepreneurs. So I hope that this story today helps give you the motivation you need, because I still need it too myself.
So today, let's learn from one of the best, Dean Graziosi, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy.
I have yet to meet a trust fund baby grown into an adult that's fulfilled or found peace. I know a lot of them that are partiers. I know a lot of them that throw the best parties on the planet. I know a lot of them that go through drugs in and out. I know a lot of them that go through relationships in and out. I know a lot of them that throw fundraisers and find God, and then they steer away from God, and then they find yoga, and then they find meditation, and they're always searching because everything was so damn easy. When you were a kid, you wanted it easy. You didn't want to do the chores. You didn't want to clean your room. You didn't want to do it. But those that are willing to put the work in, those that aren't so soft, those that aren't feeling bad for themselves because they had to work, those that realize if you want it, you got to fight for it. Guys, that's the next level of happiness. Fighting, struggling, going through the hard times is what allow you to appreciate the good times. The reason I appreciate you guys, my family, so much is because when I was young, I didn't have that family. The reason I appreciate abundance and wealth so much because I didn't have any. The reason I love to cook and go grocery shopping still is because there was no groceries in my refrigerator when I was young. So you don't get to appreciate the good unless you fight for the hard. So this is my challenge to you right now. Fight for it. Go the hard route. If there's an easy path and an easy button, it's always, in most cases, it's wrapped with something else. It's wrapped with an agenda. It's wrapped with circumstances. It's wrapped with failure because you're looking for the easy way. Be educated about it. Model other people that are already doing it. Don't be overly risky when you can learn from others, and take the path even if it's hard, if at the end of that path is your full potential or next level potential, and you on the journey towards discovering who you really are.
Rule number 2, attach your heart to your goals.
We can replace any limiting story with a story of empowerment. And when you attach those emotions to goals, you become unstoppable. Where you are is maybe okay, but it's not who you're meant to be. So you know where you are with honesty. Then we must decide, where is it that we truly want to go? Who do we want to be in a year from now? Think of that question. I didn't say what do you want. Who do you want to become a year from now? What kind of income, happiness, joy, health do you want? Let's pretend it's a year from now. Pretend it's the best year of our lives. And what does that look like when you look in the mirror, when you look in your bank account, when you get up to do your daily thing? Is it going to an office, or is it doing your own thing where you're impacting others, right? Why do you want to make more money, have more love, have a better body, or be in better shape? Why do you want to find self-love again, or get out of that bad habit? Why? It's always deeper, right? Could be for family, could be for freedom, could be because you want control of your decisions, your time, right? Could be that you want to be a better parent, a better husband, a better wife, a better spouse, a better significant other. I don't know your why, but when you attach your heart to your goal, you become unstoppable. The last piece, if you know where you are and you know where you want to go, if you attach your heart, the last piece is, how are you going to get there? What capabilities do you need to keep your mindset sharp, to never lose your confidence, to stay in the right state of mind, to unleash that inner hero that lives in all of us, to stay happy, abundant, to focus on solutions, to move forward, to not feel like an imposter. What capabilities do you need? When you want to learn something, find somebody who's living the life you want, that truly has the depth and breadth and is willing to create a course, a workshop, a mastermind, gain the capabilities, and make it happen. I've been in the self-education industry for over 24 years, and I want to give you the common denominator of the people that break through and have the greatest year of their life and shift, like fundamentally shift their future forever. You see, they do gain the capabilities, the how, from someone who's already been there. But you have to be careful. Once you get the knowledge, that's not enough. That must be combined with the addiction. Please write this down right now. With the addiction of uncomfortable action. We must get addicted to uncomfortable action. We must get addicted to courageously moving forward. Courage isn't moving forward in the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward even if you're a little scared, even if you've never done it before, even if you feel like an imposter, even if you feel like your friends will think you're crazy, or your family members, or your spouse. That is what we must get addicted to. So the magical combination for success is gaining capabilities from someone who's already been there, someone who's crafted the blueprint, and then shifting your mindset to say, I'm going to go for this. And if I fail, congratulations. That means I'm pushing myself. Because if you haven't failed much, that means you're playing safe. And you don't like safe, or you wouldn't be here right now. And that's the part I missed yesterday. I thought it was so important for you to understand. If you feel uneasy about moving forward, congratulations. If you feel a little nervous, have butterflies about starting the business, scaling the business, doing the sales, doing the marketing, having that conversation with your husband, talking to your children, walking into the gym. If it's making you a little nervous, congratulations. Your next level of life lives on the other side of that uncomfortable action. But again, you want the blueprint and the action, and then it's game over.
Rule number 3 is make tough decisions.
I want to talk about those tough decisions, those ones we ignore, those ones that we avoid, those ones that give us a bellyache sometimes. And not that everybody's going through that, but so many times in life there are decisions we need to make that we are not. It is so much easier. I don't know about you, but I absolutely do it. If there's hard things in my life, I find a way to tuck it down and stay busy, avoid it, do something else. And in most cases, those tough decisions are the ones that make the biggest impact in your life. So today, let's talk about those tough decisions that we like to avoid, that we like to put off because they could be painful, they could be scary. Sometimes there's an unknown attached on the other side of those tough decisions. So is it easier just to tuck it down, forget about it, and move on? Yeah, probably temporary, but not long term. So how do we make tough decisions? Well, here's one I'd like you to think about. First off, number 1, if we don't make a decision, nothing will change. In fact, it most likely will get worse. So think about this. Whatever's stopping you, holding you back, makes you scared, makes you worried, if you do nothing about it, all it will do is occupy your mind, occupy your thoughts. And fast forward a year, 5 years, 10 years from now, will it be any different? Imagine if that one thing you're thinking of, there could be lots of things. It could be in love life, health, relationships. It could be in your starting a new career, starting a new job, finally getting out of a job that's killing you, or registering that URL, or doing the first deal, or making the first offer. I don't know what it is. But there's something holding you back. It's this big decision. It's something you're worried about. Maybe you don't want to tell your spouse. Maybe you don't want to tell your family. Maybe you're afraid to talk to people around you, so you ignore it. But if you keep ignoring it, how would it feel if you compounded it a year from now and you're in the same exact spot? That's the first thing. Secondly, what if it's 5 years from now and that same exact thing that you're afraid to make a decision on is still holding you back? It's got you stuck exactly where you are today. What if it's 10 years? And let me ask you, and you say, I don't think 10 years will go by. How fast has the last 5 years gone by for you? I don't know, let me know below. If you think it's gone by fast, say yes below, or type a Y. Life has gone by so fast in the last 5 years. I'm blessed that I'm trying to soak up every bit, but it's going fast. So how long did you ever stay in a bad relationship, stay in a bad job, not make that decision, not contemplate the new business, contemplate making more money, contemplate getting more training, whatever it is, and all of a sudden you realize, like, wow, that was a year ago I started thinking about that. No, that was 5 years ago, or it was 10 years ago. So first off, I want you to think, if you don't make a decision, the pain of that inaction will do nothing but grow. Just grab a piece of paper and think about this. Amuse me here for a second. I want you to think about 2 different timelines. Now, this is hard to do. Most people don't do this stuff, but most people wouldn't be watching me. Most people are sitting around thinking about more, complaining. I don't mean that disrespectful, but they're not gaining wisdom, knowledge, or even inspiration. I'm not saying I'm the smartest guy in the world, but if I can inspire you to action today, then it's worth this time, right? I want you to think about taking 2 pieces of paper, and on one, write where you are. I'm here right now. And then I want you to like a flow chart of your life. I want you to do version 1. You don't make that tough decision. You don't start the business. You don't say no to this relationship. You don't fix it. You don't move to the next level. Nothing changes. And I want you to write what will be if nothing changes. You stay where you are. Well, the job will be okay. 6 months from now, maybe you get a little raise. A year from now, another raise. Let's just take a job, for example, that might just be draining your body, draining your soul. It was something your family, friends, your college professor, somebody thought you should take. Maybe it made you feel responsible for a moment, but it's killing you on the inside. So let's just say you stay in that job. As you go down that path, think about where will you be in 6 months and how will you feel? What's the emotions? How will you feel if you get a 10% raise in a year from now and you get an extra 3 days vacation? And just go down that road over the next 10 or 20 years and spend the time. Is your life worth 10 minutes taking that? And maybe you'll find that's okay. You'll get a promotion. You'll move to next level of management. You'll feel better about, I don't know, go down that road. And then also feel what kind of security would you have? Maybe that job brings you a sense of security. And go down that road. You could do the same thing with staying in a relationship. You could do the same thing with leaving your health the way it is. Take a 10-year look into the future and literally write it down. Don't just think about it. Don't just visualize, even though they're both amazing. Write it down like I'm picturing. If I was on a whiteboard with you right now and you were sitting in front of me, I would say, okay, where are you right now? And you tell me and say, okay, 6 months from now, where would you be with your health, your relationship, your job, your income, if nothing changes? And we just go down that road and figure a line and a circle, then another line, then a circle and a circle and a circle. And then just look at that path. And maybe you'll find, you know what? It's safe, it's secure. I need security in my life. That's great. But then below it, or on another piece of paper, then think if you make the change, if you make the decision, if you get through the pain, if you stop avoiding the big decision, if you stop feeling stuck and you just said, screw this, I am changing this today. I'm ending this bad relationship today. I'm fixing the bad relationship right now. I'm ending this job, or I'm transitioning, or I'm going to start to look, or I'm going to post my resume, or I'm going to start my own business, or I'm going to start doing real estate, or I'm going to start doing whatever it is that you want to do. I'm going to register the URL, whatever it is. Picture on the next chart, if you're on a flow chart, whiteboard, or piece of paper, is you made that change. Yeah, you might feel insecure. Write that down. What would you be in 6 months? What would you be doing? Would you be pursuing your passion? Would you be doing more yoga and meditation to get more in touch with who you are or feel better about you? Again, I'm kind of all over the board I'm thinking of it could be your relationship, could be your income, it could be your health. But just pick one and start going down that journey. Where will you be in 6 months, a year? You might be scared, but will you find something new? Think back on past experiences when you were scared and you made a decision. Your next level of life, your next level of happiness, joy always lives on the other side of your biggest challenge. I know that, you know that, but we all get scared. And then we get a little older, we get complacent, we get fearful and go, let me just leave it the way it is. How's leaving it the way it is do when no one's around? When you're alone, when you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning with your head spinning and you're thinking about it, right? How's that doing for you? I don't know. I'm not telling you from lack of experience. I've done these things myself. So I want you to think about the 2 options of your life. And as hard as it is, you're going to find this hard to do. Believe me, I just did this exercise with 2 different paths. I have the option for 2 different paths in my life on something that's huge. And I've been thinking about it and staying up and worrying. And I'm like, it's not working. I literally had to sit and go down both paths and not just a month, and I had to think, how will I feel in a year? How will I feel in 5 years? Now that life has gone by so quick, we know that 5 years is going to go by in a moment. So in 5 years, do you want to be watching me going, I remember when Dean did this 5 years ago and I still haven't went for it. I still haven't decided. I still haven't made that tough decision. When are you going to make that tough decision?
Rule number 4, let's put your oxygen mask on first.
Put your oxygen mask on first. That's what you need to do. You need to take uncomfortable action. You need to push yourself. If you're a part of our mastermind family, welcome, be here. Push yourself. Stop waiting for someone else to do it. Take uncomfortable action. Do the things you need to do, even if it's at your own pace. You don't have to be Roger Rabbit going 100 miles an hour, but you gotta move forward. Don't wait. No one's coming to do this for you. Whatever you have, whatever capabilities, whatever part of our company you are, or anything you're doing, if you really want to make a difference, if you want to be in that place where you can have your oxygen mask on first, I'm gonna be really honest with you. It's not easy. I've doubted myself a million times. I felt like an imposter a million times. I've had my own family look me in the eye and say, stop being a dreamer, Dean. That's for other people. You didn't go to college. We don't come from that kind of money. You'll never be that. They don't say that when I land my own jet in my hometown and my whole family gets off my own plane, right? I don't say that to be a jerk. You don't even see me. Did you ever see me post a picture of my plane on my Instagram? I'm not the guy that holds up money or shows you my plane or my house that's the house of my dreams. I don't do that. I don't want people to follow me because I hold stacks of money on a Facebook ad, right? I want people to know me for the heart I have. But I'm blessed to have more success than I ever could have dreamed possible. And I get to take care of the people I love. I got to put my own oxygen mask on years ago, and now I put it on a lot more people than you'd ever know. That's not all I donate to. We've done it in a lot of different areas. And this year I want to donate, I don't know about the feelings you have, but who felt that in their heart when I shared what I was able to do, right? Who in here has a desire to help other people once you're secure? Can I share something with you? And I want to share this today because it just feels on my heart. I'm going to tell you to be selfish. Be selfish. Be selfish for the next 3 years. Go get yourself strong. Go put your own oxygen mask on. Put some money in the bank. Crush your company. Be selfish with your time. Be selfish with your income. Be greedy on the amount of money you want to make. I'm telling you, be greedy, be selfish. You know why? Because if you go all in, if you stop thinking, I wish I could do more, be more, go all in and make the money. Get secure and put your oxygen mask on, and what you can do in 5 years from now, what you can do in 7 years from now, what you could do in 12 years from now is unbelievable. But we need this moment of us. We need this moment of getting ourselves. So many of you I see right now are the most giving people you've ever, anyone knows. You're the person that gives the most. You know what you're doing? You're putting oxygen masks on everybody else and you can barely breathe. You're out there helping everybody. Let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. And you're barely breathing. You're like, here's an oxygen mask. Here's an oxygen mask. When you need to hold it to your face. I love the story of Andrew Carnegie, right? What did Andrew Carnegie at a certain pace in his life? You know what he said? I'm going to spend the first half of my life making a ton of money. And I'm going to spend the second half of my life giving it all away. If he would have felt guilty, if he would have not went for it, he never would have got to the ability to do the things that he was able to do with his money. I'm telling you, be greedy, be selfish, so you could be the least greedy and the least selfish for the long run, right? What does Tony always say? And I think he got it from Jim Rohn, who probably got it from somebody else. But we all overestimate what we can do in a year, and we underestimate what we can do in 5. Who in here in 5 years from now would love to sit down with your family, like I was able to do this Christmas, right after Christmas, and say, as a family, we have X amount of dollars that we want to help people. What do you guys want to do? How does that, I don't know, maybe that doesn't ring a bell for everybody. It rang a bell for me. And my wife's like, oh my God, I want to help kids. And my daughter was like, I want to help this. There's too much separation in our world right now. Who can we help out to help bond our communities, bond the people, become the human race? My son had his idea. I'm like, okay, what do you want to spend? Go online, find a great company, find somebody that's got 5-star rating, go, come back to the table. Who are we going to donate money to? How does that feel? What does that do for your soul right now? What does that do for your heart right now? Is that bigger than anything else? But I'm telling you, don't do that until your mask is on. That's the part we all want to do. Who wants to do that? Who wants to donate more, give more, impact more, right? But I'm not saying you shouldn't help out now. If you don't donate 1 million out of 10 million, you won't donate, if you won't donate $1 out of $10, you won't donate 1 million out of 10 million. We can do things now, but be more selfish, more greedy with your time, your money, and all of it right now. Put your focus on you, put your focus on being successful, because then in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, you get to cut checks and make an influence, make an impact. And that's what I consider being success. Success isn't just the money. I have to tell you, and do you mind if I share? I hope you don't think I'm bragging. I don't tell anybody, I don't take pictures, but 10 or 12 years ago, I got invited by somebody, maybe 15 years ago, I got invited to go on a private plane. I don't know, I honestly don't know how long ago, it could have been 20 years ago. And it was somebody that was really wealthy. And I'm like, I came from a kid that was in a trailer park, and I was already in business, and I was already doing well, but nothing like that. And I flew on this plane, and it was like, you just drive your car to the plane, you drive right out on the tarmac. I'm in shock. You get out of your car, you take 3 steps, you walk up into the plane, it takes off, you land, and when you land, your rental car is waiting at the bottom of the steps. I'm like, holy crap. This is unbelievable. There's food on the plane. There's a bathroom on the plane. It's like, this is ridiculous. This can't be possible. And I remembered that plane. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm buying one of these someday. I'm going to buy it after I hit certain criteria, after I saved enough, after I gave enough away. I'm buying one of these. And I've chartered since then. I've probably flown mostly private. I don't know, 10 years. I never talk. You never hear me talk about this. Look at this. Some of you I have a relationship with for 7 to 10 years. Never shared this. That's why I don't want you to respect me because I got a big house and a plane. I want you to respect me for my heart, my feeling, and how I got here. And that's what I hope I share that with you guys. You see a lot of people, go on your Facebook right now. I guarantee there's somebody holding the $500,000 in their hand and someone else in front of their Lamborghini and someone else showing off their watch, right? You never see that with me. I wear pretty much a gray t-shirt today. It's a very special day. I have a greenish gray shirt on. It's a special day right here. I digress. I was on that plane probably 15, 18 years ago. I bought that plane a year ago. But was it easy? No. Have I failed miserably? Yes. Have I doubted myself? Absolutely. Have I felt like an imposter? More than you'll ever know or ever believe. But it's possible. The only thing is we have to stay in the game. We have to find what drives us. We have to keep moving forward. We have to say to ourselves, again, I see so many incredible people on here. I know the success you've had. This isn't about you not having success up until now. It's about me hopefully helping you get to that next level of success.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there.
Rule number 5 is let the inner hero be in charge.
I use silly analogies, I know. Inner villain, inner hero, what are we like, 7? And these are cartoon characters. But isn't it easy to remember? Like when you're thinking of making the phone call and you go, I don't know if I should. You can go, oh, wait a minute. The inner villain's in charge right now. I'm not letting that happen. Let me evoke and let me bring the inner hero to light. And I've been saying these silly analogies, probably that when I've been studying this forever, but for over a decade, I've been using that. And I'll still say to myself, like, how can I let the villain be in charge today? Because the villain, I want to tell you this, the villain will always fight to be in charge. You got to know that. And especially if this is a shift for you. Maybe you didn't even realize that you let this inner villain be in control of you. The phone conversations you have, the focus that you have, the belief you have, playing scared, waiting for someone else to fix it. You didn't even know that this villain was in charge. So now, all of a sudden you go, you're not in charge anymore. The villain's like, oh, wait a minute. I've been nesting in here for a while. I'm coming back strong. Will the villain fight harder? Absolutely. Will the villain look for more proof? Way more. And that's why in this section, I want to go really deep on the 2 factors necessary to become that achiever that you want, to create the success you want. to let the hero be in charge. Those two things are your state of mind and your confidence level. Think about that, right? We know your state of mind and your confidence. Have you ever done anything absolutely outstanding with a crappy state of mind and low confidence? You're like, no, I don't want to do that now. I'll talk to him later. No, the relationship's fine. You know, I should just be happy with this job. Who the hell am I to think I could start my own business or scale my own thing? No, the heck with that, right? That's the way we talk when our state of mind is down and our confidence is down. So what we have to do is find skills. We have to remember, we have to have a framework that when our wrong state of mind comes in, when our lack of confidence comes down, remember I told you earlier, and I believe this with all of me, confidence isn't on a scale of 0 to 100. If your confidence is at 95%, in my opinion, you play small. You're not playing into your full potential. You're playing into your fears, and you just hesitate, right? Think of the old saying, he who hesitates or she who hesitates loses, right? Couldn't be more dead on accurate. When you hesitate, you miss those opportunities. You already have. You know you've already missed opportunities. You've already played too small. Come on. You know you have, right? It doesn't matter where you are. I know so many of you are massively successful. So you're all successful in your own right. So please know when I say that. But you know you've played small. And what if you could put a face and a name, or not really a face, but a name to that thing, that person that's held you back? It's not that you're lazy. It's not that you're a procrastinator. It's not that it's the wrong time in history. It's not just because your husband or your wife doesn't support you. It's because it sinks, because we're in control. Nobody, you know, what have we talked about? We're either the thermostat or the thermometer, right? And if the greatest gift I would love for each of you to have is to leave being more of the thermostat. Like, no, today I'm adjusting the temperature. There ain't nobody telling me what degree to put this on. There's nobody telling me what to do. I love the people around me, love my family, husband, wife, mom, dad, love them all, but they're not adjusting me. Like, you know what? I just thought of this, and I'm gonna do it myself, is like, you get a picture of a thermostat, and it's like, you picture no one else can touch it except you. Like, do not touch. It's for Tracy or Jean or Kristen or Margarita or Tara, or any of you watching right now. That's who's in control. No one else gets to adjust that. And when we do that, we get to build that state of mind and confidence. Listen, when you're confident, you say no to the thing that you should have said no to a long time ago. And as I say that, you're thinking about something. You have confidence, you say yes to the thing you should have said yes to a long time ago. You choose you. You choose your next level. You choose who you're supposed to be when you have confidence. So that's why this is so important. And think about the villain in charge and how the confidence process gets destroyed. So I was trying to think of this natural evolution, like the slide that you could see yourself going down the wrong path. Because I could say, this robs your confidence, right? We talked about negative news and all the things that feeds the villain. It also kills the confidence. But I was also thinking there's a slippery slope, right? So think about this. If you're excited about what could be, right? You're starting the new business. You're going to build a team. You're going to go into the knowledge industry. You're going to share what you know. You're going to open up 3 more pizza restaurants. I don't know what it is, but you're doing something and you feel amazing, like excited for what could be. You're looking at that compelling future. You want to just make it bigger. And then all of a sudden your subconscious, when your villain's in charge, starts to want to protect you. Oh, damn, Kimberly's dreaming again. Okay. Let's get some proof. Let's keep her safe, okay? Inner villain type stuff, right? And then all of a sudden, your brain shifts. And you can let me know if you've ever done this. You can write it down if you have. Your brain shifts and starts focusing on what could go wrong. But if I do that, my friends and family are going to think I'm stupid that I tried. What if I give up my job and then the money doesn't come in? Then I can't pay my bills, and then I can't pay my mortgage, and then I won't be able to take care of my kids. And then, like somebody said snowball. You snowball, Joe said, you snowball down this hill. You start focusing on what could go wrong. And then all of a sudden, you don't, if you're like driving a car, you're not looking forward anymore. Then your subconscious goes into overdrive and you start looking in your rear view mirror backwards on things you tried before. You know, I tried that own business thing 10 years ago. I tried network marketing. I tried to do an online business, right? Remember the last time we tried? It's like you're having a conversation with that subconscious, like, oh yeah, we tried and we failed. Or remember, you were lazy last time. You procrastinated last time. People didn't believe in you last time. You failed last time. And now all of a sudden you're stacking it up. And then what do? You start looking around for other people who failed. Who's ever done this? I have to tell you, I drive. I think I shared this earlier, but I had a Mercedes, and then I went to a Tesla, which I loved that Tesla. But something about, I'm just getting simpler. Like, I can't wear anything but a gray t-shirt. I don't know, it's almost impossible for me to put anything else on. I wear a watch only because my wife gave it to me as a wedding gift, right? I'm just getting simpler. And I sold those, and right now I drive a white Ford pickup truck. It's got cool wheels on it, it's a fancy truck, but I love it. Like, absolutely love it. It's a favorite thing. Now, when I got this, it's because Jeremy, who's been working with me for a decade, and a dear friend's got a great truck. My brother-in-laws both have the same truck, and it just looks so cool, but I didn't see anybody else's except their three, right? So I get my brother-in-law to help me find the truck. I help him get me really cool wheels on it. I'm like, get me unique wheels, get me unique tires. I want white, but I want like wine color interior, because if I sold everything. So all I drive is this truck. I'm like, I got a cool white Ford pickup that nobody's got, right? And what happened the first time I went down the street? Everybody has a white Ford pickup truck. Everybody has a white Ford pickup truck with the same tires and wheels as I do. Like, literally, I'll come to my office and there's two people that work for me. I didn't even notice that they had exactly the same trucks. They probably think I copied them, right? Because our subconscious, until we look for it, we don't recognize it's there. So what happens in this slippery slope, right? You're excited, then your subconscious wants to protect you. You focus on what could go wrong. You look backwards on the things that want, and all of a sudden you start looking through the lens of other people who failed. Oh, she tried that business. Dana tried that, didn't work out. That's right. Like, you're noticing the white Ford pickup trucks. You're noticing what could go wrong. So you're gathering proof. And then what happens? Self-doubt starts to come in. Yeah, this probably won't work. And all of a sudden, your confidence goes from 98% when you felt amazing about moving forward, drops down to about 90, and guess what happens? You hesitate, you stop, you back up, and you miss out. And you stay status quo. Doesn't mean your life falls miserably and you fall off a cliff and everything's gone. You just go back to who you were, and you stay there. That is a path. That is not a path for someone else that I've never experienced. I've been on that path a million times. How do you think I could recognize that path? Why do you think I wanted to take the time to go down that path with you? It's the end result problem. You find the root cause.
Rule number 6 is make small shifts.
What are 3 inevitable results a year from now or 20 years from now if you don't take action to improve your health, vitality, and your energy? You know the whole thing, it's a year from now, you're looking back, and it's been the best year of your life with your energy, with your health, the way you feel, the way you look. What are 3 things that would just make you feel alive, or 3 benefits? Literally right now, right? When I was in my 30s. Oh, you're in your 30s. 30s, enjoy your 30s. How many of you have ever heard that? Enjoy your 30s, because Dean, when you hit your 40s, just everything changes. You don't feel good, your knees hurt. 40s were amazing for me. My energy ramped up in my 40s. But then the big one was, 40s, brother, you got through the 40s, but you have no idea what the 50s are like. Everything goes fast. It changes. Like, dude, it's just not the same. It's like you eat one bit of sweets and boom, the stomach goes out. You forget cardio for, like, all these stories. Don't listen to anyone. Don't even let your subconscious say, well, we are 40. Well, we are 50. Well, we are 70. I want to know right now, for you, what are the 3 benefits of making this real? Better routines, better life, better choices, more time with family, right? I mean, think about that. I don't want to leave my kids, especially now I'm having new kids. I want to be here. So I know what my 3 are. I know what my top 10 are. But then let's go to the other side. This is the part I want you to be real. I want you to put it in here. Like, don't mess around. Just say the freaking truth. What are 3 inevitable results a year from now or 20 years from now if you don't take action to improve your health, vitality, and your energy? Let's just be honest. If you just ignore it, if you push it to another day, if you don't make these small shifts, if you don't find a way to focus on the outcome, to know who you're doing it for, why you're doing it, what it looks like in your life, the 3 things that can benefit you. If you don't make these small shifts, in a year from now, what's the inevitable results? Or 20 years from now? Will the business never get started? Will you not have the energy to do it? Will you gain another 5 pounds? Will you stop taking the stairs and just be the elevator or escalator person? Let's get more serious. Could it be diabetes? Could it be that you'll die early? Could it be that you get a disease because you're not taking care of your body? But we all get to draw a line in the sand at a certain day, because we can talk about this till we're blue in the face, but let's just get real today. Let's not sugarcoat it. Let's just not be rah, rah, motivation, yell, jump up and down. Let's do this. Yeah, I love all that. I also love to just be real. Like we're like a family, right? Let's just get real. If you don't make shifts, what's inevitably going to happen? Let's just say it like it is, right? If we don't make shifts, what if it wasn't? What if you never got sick, never got diabetes? Let's not talk about dementia or death. What if you just didn't have the energy and the vitality and the freaking power to just take the business that you're starting or whatever it is that you're doing? What if you just didn't have the energy to do it? And a year from now, you are exactly where you are right now. How does that feel? Why not just decide today? Listen, let's just be honest. There's been fad diets, fad exercises, all the stuff. And I don't know which one's the best. I don't. I just choose a balance, right? And we'll talk more about that in a minute. But couldn't we agree that if you say you wanted to lose a little weight and have more energy, be a little healthier, can we agree right now that if we ate smarter and worked out more, we would be healthier? I'm not trying to be a jerk. Can we agree that? Do we all know that too much sugar is bad for us? Can we all agree that that's true, right? Can we all agree that more live, green or multicolored vegetables, more of those, is better for us, right? I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm just saying some things are simple. Do we know that if we had more cardiovascular movement in our body, that it's good for us? Do we know that a little weight training to keep our bones and muscles, keep our muscles strong and keep our bones in place is good for us? Again, I'm not trying to. But the problem is we get sucked into counting our macros, counting our calories, and this new diet. Like, you're really going to count your macros or your calories every day and put it into an app? I'm just being honest. Let's just say it real. Come on. Is it really going to put you in shape, give you the energy? No. We got to find stuff that matches in our lives, that builds into a routine that's like, you already know how to eat healthy. If you don't, go watch a video on YouTube. Find something that you can do that's sustainable. Say no to the breads, the extra bread, the extra sugar, the extra soda, the dessert most of the time. You say no to that. Say yes to the things that fill your body. We know good carbs are, sweet potatoes and oatmeal or whatever, right? You kind of know it. So stop waiting for the magical, like I always say, don't wait for the magical money machine. Don't wait for the magical diet. Just eat healthier and exercise and move more. Like, eat better, move more. We're all in better shape now. It's not going to get you. It's not the tactical. It's the practical. It's the things that I just shared here. And we say, can we agree? Listen, can we just I didn't expect this to go here, but can we just freaking all agree? There's so many of you who are in amazing shape here, right? I'm getting, I don't want you to think I'm preaching to everybody and think you're all, like, I know most of you take care of yourself, but there's another level. And there's more years coming our way, no matter what. The next 10 years is coming, no matter what.
Rule number 7, courageously move forward.
I remember my wife telling me that her big fear was that when her parents went through a divorce, she was like 8. And she was cognizant enough to be like, my dad sits in a house that's quiet and he's all alone. I remember thinking, wow, that's like really heavy for like an 8-year-old to grasp. But the psychological principle of like needing that noise, like there's a deep thing going on in your brain that like you had to find a way to manage to navigate. So I have been in storms like that. When I'm in them, I'm always saying to myself, I think it's Churchill to somebody who's coming up multiple times here, that if you're going through hell, keep going.
Yeah.
But that's really hard, man. I have the chills just knowing I was going to say that's really hard, because it's really hard. And what I want to know is, what are some of the tools? I've heard you talk about self-narrative before. I've heard you talk about future casting. Like, what are the things that people can learn to do that allow them, when the hatch is closed, to either open that hatch
Or be okay to sit for a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah, rather than me saying what I think is the healthiest answer, I'm just going to say the answer that comes to me. I'd love to say that I got through a lot of those by future casting, by projecting a bigger future, do it through harmony, through peace, not torture yourself. I'd love to say, but sometimes when the storm's really bad, I have to look backwards, and I kind of put myself through probably hell of going back to who I used to be, or much worse, because sometimes when you build something big, there's a lot that can tip, right? So I will look back and feel the emotions of how things used to be. I know I do that, and this is not a practice. I don't sit down and meditate and say, oh my God, let me feel these emotions of a child. They're just there. And if I let them come out, I feel them, and I get to where I am disturbed, scared, worried about just seeing how things go, and it pushes me forward. It's almost like if you had a car with nitrous and you don't use it all the time. We all need to figure out, what is the nitrous button, right? A nitrous, for those not in cars, and I remember when you were young, it had a nitrous button. It can make a car go really fast, really quick. If you hit the nitrous button all the time, car burns out, doesn't work. But if you save that nitrous button, if you save it when you're the scaredest, when you're saving it when you need to get through something really hard. I've never shared this in that way before, but that's, for me, my hardest times. I'll go into a place of the fear of going backwards, the fear of what could go wrong. And that is so scary to me that I won't be in control of my time. Someone else might tell me how to live my life. What if I had to, my brain used to go back to, what if I had to go to work for someone? I've never worked for anybody in my entire life. At 17, I started cutting firewood. I've never worked for anybody in my life. I think of things like, what if you had to get a job? What if they told you couldn't pick up your kids from school? You might be watching and say, Dean, don't abuse yourself like that, but I need that. Some people need to run away from their pain, and some people run towards their pleasure. Obvious things in life, right? Me, I will hit the nitrous button, and that is thinking of all the things that'll go wrong if I don't courageously move forward. When sometimes I don't have an answer, where I'm not sure where it's going, but I know if I stand there, more cliches. When you stand, it's so many that keep popping in my head. I got to stop it. But
cliches become cliches for a reason.
Yeah, but there's never a time you can just stand. You can only sit on your hands or freeze for enough time, and then you start sliding backwards, and you know that to be true. And I think about those things. I'm like, I can't just wait. I'm scared to death, but I'm going anyway. And it's probably not the greatest answer, but that's me. That's my push.
I think that's really good.
Rule number 8 is take action.
Is action in a new area, taking a step, launching the course, starting the business, fixing the relationship, saying no, saying yes, is that comfortable? Is it easy? Hell no. Hell no. But is it worth it? Hell yes. So how do we, this word uncomfortable action has been my favorite word for the last year probably. So let's use that in a sentence. What has the lack of uncomfortable action already cost you? I'd love for you to share. Has it cost you another year in a bad relationship? You've been planning your escape for 3 years and you still haven't fixed it or ended it. Doing a video to launch your course, but you're a little nervous about it, so you didn't take the uncomfortable action. What does that cost you? Feeling inferior, feeling like an imposter, pretending that you're not good enough to do what other people do. What has that already cost you? What has that already cost you? And start identifying it now, because if you can think about what has the lack of uncomfortable action already cost you, you can think about that and use that as another tool, another arrow in your quiver to overcome it in advance when you see it coming. When when it comes to marketing, I get scared. Oh, wait a minute. That's already cost me a year of my life. It's already cost me 10 grand a month. That ain't happening again. That ain't happening again. That's not going to do it. And we have to load us up, right? Arrows in the quiver, like the pain of inaction, the pain of being disturbed with inaction. And knowing your enemy in advance can allow you to defeat it faster. Now we're going to flip that on its side. Think of what scares you. Now I want you to ask, when we want to move forward, like, I'm in this today. Screw this. Dean, you're firing me up. I'm doing this. What is, if you had to just one word or a couple of words, and I want you just whatever comes out, what is your biggest fear or obstacle that's in your way from moving forward right now? Like you just think, I want to make $100,000 a month, but I want to end my relationship, but I want to fix my relationship, but I want to get in better shape, but, and I'm not just talking about time. We all know it's time. I don't have the money. I don't have the resources. Hell with resources. You want to be resourceful. That's what we teach here. We teach resourcefulness, not giving you free money. People hit lotto, go broke. You don't want the money. You want the resourcefulness. That's who we are becoming together. You're afraid to fail. But by not taking action, are you already failing? How did it feel to visualize your life in a year from now and nothing changed? How did that feel? Is that fear of failure stronger than that? Is that fear of failure or letting someone down or rejection worth that? I mean, think about a year from now if life was exactly the same and somebody said, why haven't you done anything in your life? If we had a chance to meet and we were having coffee and I said, so what's going on? Nothing changed. Why? I was afraid I'd get rejected. Think about that. Would you like saying that to me? Would you like saying that to anyone? Or I was afraid to fail, so I didn't do anything. Think about that. But I want to flip this upside down for you right now. Your next level of life lives on the other side of the thing you fear the most or is uncomfortable to do.
Rule number 9 is pay the success tax.
What I want to talk about today is getting your knuckles dirty. Yeah, that's what I want to talk about. Feeling embarrassed, going against the grain, not listening to your family, not listening to your friends, feeling like an oddball, feeling alone, working hard when no one's watching. That's what I want to talk about today. You're like, wow, Dean, I thought this was going to be inspirational. This is inspirational. And this is the part I've been talking about a lot. You probably heard me say it, but I'm going to say it again. You don't go to the gym once and get in good shape. You don't hear this out of my mouth once and then do it right for the rest of your life. I want to talk about you and if you're paying your success tax, right? Everybody pays tax. Do we like it? No, but we know we got to pay income tax. We make money, a certain point goes through. We buy something, sales tax. We got to pay tax. And what do I mean by that? Now, if you've seen me on stage or heard me share this, I'm going to share it again. I want you to really listen. This is your life we're talking about. If you want to be a famous musician, and you want to be at Madison Square Garden, and you want to stand on the edge of the stage, jamming in your guitar, and have 50,000 people singing your song, that would be the ideal, that would be the goal, that would be the glory, that would be the home run, that would be the magic if you are a musician. That could be if you want to run your own company, make your own money, inspire others, become a millionaire, become a billionaire, whatever it is you want to do, that would be the grand, like, right? But what most people are unwilling to do is do what it takes to get on stage in front of 50,000 people where they're singing their songs. When we see people, sometimes we envy them, we wish we could be them, but are we willing to do what they do? If that person is doing that, I would bet to say that that person played when no one was watching, played that guitar until there's a song, right? Until his fingers bled, when no one was watching. Maybe he skipped going out with the boys, or she skips hanging out with her friends, and maybe missed prom. Maybe parents said, if you keep playing that guitar, we're not paying for your college and you have to move out. And they moved out. Maybe their girlfriend or boyfriend broke up with them because all they did is play in the band at night. What about when they had to pack up an old van and go from dive bar to dive bar, where their first songs that sucked, people threw beer bottles and booed them off stage, and they left crying? Or they went to a place and they drove 4 hours and they got there and the owner wouldn't let them on stage, or let them on stage and then wouldn't pay them, and they drove back with their tail between their legs. What about when one of the members of the band quit because, like, this is stupid, my parents said I'm an idiot, I am an idiot? What about all that? That's all success tax. And then when they got their first record deal, they thought they were going to get a lot of money and they didn't. They got a record deal, the song went popular, but the record company screwed them out of their money, but they kept going. their wife or girlfriend broke up with them because they were too obsessed. They kept going. Their parents stopped talking to them. They kept going. Their friends told them they were losers. They kept going. They got booed off a stage. They kept going. And all of a sudden, they're in Madison Square Garden playing in front of 50,000 people, and everybody's envious saying, I could do that. No, you couldn't unless you're willing to pay all the success tax. So let me ask you again, are you paying your success tax? Because you can't get there. There's an auditor, believe me, with a checkbox going, you want the millions? You want it? Have you put the time in? Have you felt failure? Have you felt embarrassed? Have you felt miserable? Have you had the stress? Have you had the worry? If you're not willing to do that, then get out of line. Get in line with 98% of the world who plays it normal, who lives with status quo. They're okay with an okay life or even a good life. Go over there. That's the line for everybody else. This line of super successful people, this is a line of people who are willing to pay their tax. Are you willing to pay yours? And as I say that, can you look back in your life and start changing some of that past that you thought was so hard and so bad and realize you were just paying your due diligence? You were just doing the things you had to do. You were doing the things to build up the grit, to build up knowledge into wisdom so you could have the tenacity, you could have the energy, you could have the enthusiasm to avoid everything around you, to go through this, to walk through the mud so you can get to that next level of glory in your life. Now that's what success tax is. Listen, I love being successful. I love having the freedom to make the choices I want. I love employing an incredible group of people. I love inspiring the world. I love that I have millions of dollars in my bank account. I love that I own millions and millions of dollars in real estate. All that's great. And I love it. And I would do it all over again to get back here. But I promise you, it didn't happen by accident. I promise you, it didn't happen by giving away a free book. It didn't happen because I stumbled onto a great real estate deal. It didn't just happen because I created a high-level mastermind or low-level mastermind. It happened because I put the work in, and I have failed miserably, and I've questioned myself, and I've asked if I'm really smart enough to do this, and I felt like I was a phony at some cases. I went through all of it. I lost relationships. I stopped talking. Some people in my family stopped talking to me. I went through all of that, but I found a way to go, I'm still heading in the direction I want. I know where I want to go. My sight is set on it, and I'm doing whatever it takes. I don't take no for an answer. I fail very fast. I get up and I brush off and I keep going. I'm encouraging you right now to stop taking no for an answer, to stop giving up, to stop letting other people get in your way, to stop thinking the obstacles in your path are there to hold you back when indeed they are the success tax that you have to pay to get to where you want to go. I want you to start reframing it today. If you've heard me say this, good. Let it sink in. If this is the first time, let it sink in. Pay your success tax. Stay on your path. Don't let anybody steer you off it. And watch how you can truly be set for life.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is find your drive.
What's the hardest thing to keep it thriving? The relationship and the business? Like, is there ever moments where you're like, it's stressful, I got this, I got that, I got kids, I got,
yes.
Traveling.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just tell you, let me just tell you the last 42 hours. I jumped on a plane, flew to Utah, did 2 business meetings, 4 podcasts, but brought my daughter and my wife, and I wanted to do 4 hours of snow. So we went and played in the snow and did all this fun stuff. But then my son was home and I missed him, so we flew back to Phoenix so I could spend 4 hours with my son. And I played baseball and ping pong and basketball. And then I dropped him off at his mom's and I jumped on a plane and I flew here, got here late last night. I had a meeting last night, I had one this morning, and love being here right now. That's just the last 42 hours.
That's
and
commitment.
But it's always like that, right? So I didn't say that to brag because we all have busy lives.
Yeah.
We all have a lot going on. But what drives me, and kind of goes back to personal development, sometimes our buddy Randy Garn, we both know very well, always says, the little things aren't the big things. The little things are everything. So for me, what keeps me going, listen, I had something today go completely sideways in one of my businesses. Like the carpet got pulled out of something I never saw coming. It's the reason I was a half hour late. I'm never late for anything in the world. Yeah. Had something go sideways today. But how do you take that in and still find a way to look forward and get up early and hustle? Is having such a big, compelling future that's always changing that it pulls you towards it. So in my business right now, I want to make self-education the new norm. I want to give people, the world, an alternative to the traditional education system and traditional trial and error. Tony and I both feel that same way. That's why we work so hard to create this, right? So I wake up in the morning, literally, if it's a tough day, I'm like, I'm going to let the world down if I don't do this today, if I don't hustle. Listen, I'm 51. I feel blessed. I have the house of my life. Like, if I wanted to bail right now, I could bail today and never do another thing and be totally fine and not run out of money ever. But what would that do? Like, there's no passion in that for me. For me, it's like, I want to leave a legacy. I want to change the world. So I got a couple of things for me that are non-negotiables. Is I get my kids half the time.
Half the time? Half your time?
Half my time.
Like your waking time?
Right. So
if you're awake 16 hours?
Oh no, I mean half the time meaning I get them half the week. So I get them 3.5 days every week. I get them 15 days every month, right? So I replace quantity with quality. So every day they're with me at 3 o'clock, I'm outside their school. I don't care. There's no business deal in the world. There's no meeting. There's no podcast. There's not $1 billion that could stop me for that. That's one. I coach every little league, coach baseball, coach softball. Nothing can change that. I want to spend time with my wife and keep maturing this relationship. I love my team. I love impacting the world. Nothing else gets my attention. And I think about somebody taking away any of that from me, and I get out of bed faster, quicker, stronger than anyone, and I have more energy. Everybody's like, I just did all these podcasts. People are like, how do you get so much energy? It's like, because I know where I'm going, and I stare at it, and I think about it every day. Like, people say, how often you got to look at your goals? Every day, because the world's going to gobble you up if you don't. So that's why I have so much energy towards my businesses. Also with my relationship. I know what it's like to go through a divorce. That sucks for everyone. I know what it's like to be in the wrong relationship. I know what it's like to not feel love and feel lonely. Like, I remember years of being New Year's Day, I'd watch the ball drop alone for like 5 years in a row. And I used to just think, man, I'd love to just find somebody I'd love with. Like, I want to kiss somebody on New Year's. That was the day that hit me for some reason more than any other day.
You see everyone kissing.
Yeah, and you're just, but it hit me like everybody, and the outside world thought my life was perfect, and me, I have all these great people around me, all this money, and my heart is so lonely on the inside. So I remember that, and I know the way I feel now. My heart is completely full. I kissed the love of my life on New Year's this year, and when I see that and I feel it, and I'm grateful to God I have it, my compelling future is to make this woman love me more every year. And that's what I just wake up and keep doing. I legit put energy into it I never did before. I think of ways all the time to surprise her, to make her go. Like, I'm like, how can I get her to love me more? Because the more I give of me, the more I get back.
Wow. Now, something you said there about a bigger, compelling future, is that what you mentioned it? Having a bigger, compelling future. I think there's probably 80, maybe 90% of people in general, I feel like, don't have this massive or big, compelling future. They have a goal or a dream, but it's not big enough to get them out of bed every morning when they're tired and all those things, right? So there's a big group of the world that I feel like doesn't know what their big, compelling future is. And then there's a group of the world that is made it. They've made a bunch of money. They've built a company. They've sold, have more money than they ever thought they would make in their lives. And they kind of lose that big, compelling future because it's like, well, I'm not hungry anymore. So how do those two types of people recreate that or rediscover?
Really great question. So
on either spectrum, like the beginner or the one who's already made it.
So we'll talk about the one who made it in a moment. The beginner or just starting. I'm just going to get really simple on this. I look at it like a beacon of light, right? What's a lighthouse, right? It tells the boats either where to go or where not to go, right? It's a light that the ships used to see way out, and they'd know how to get to the shores of the East Coast, up in Boston, those areas. That's where lighthouses first came into play, right? So I think of a lighthouse like a beacon of light that we all need to go towards every single day. Like, I need something that gets me out of bed to look at and go, oh, that's why I'm getting up. That's why I'm working hard. But what happens is so many of us have already surpassed the goals we had when we were 19. Like, most everybody listen right now. If you went back to your 19-year-old self or 17-year-old self and said, you're going to do this and do this, you're like, no way, that's so cool. But we don't keep taking that lighthouse, that beacon of light, and moving it further out. I think I like simple visuals is, what is it, if it was the best year of your life, like we all have aspirations, right? If we're sitting here a year from now, Lewis, and it's the best year of your life, I tell everybody, just start dreaming. Best year of my life looks like this, looks like that. My love would be on a whole nother level. My body would be here. The money I'm making, my company's thriving. You write all those down, and then you stick them on this beacon of light and push it a little bit further away from you that you can't reach it. And it's gotta be a little bigger than you think, so it challenges you. Right? Like, I don't say, hey, I'd like to create a course with Tony Robbins and help change a few people's lives. It's like, no, I want to change the school system. I want to create a new way that people learn. I want to make it so when people go to a job interview in 10 years from now, they go, yeah, you went to college, that's great. But where'd you get your self-education?
Wow.
Right?
That's cool.
So when I think about that and it's posted on that beacon of light, like, I can't let, grass grow under my feet. I got to hustle. The other thing I like to think about is, and I'm digressing a little, but I like to play like I'm 10 points down. I like to not say I won before, I won the last game. That's why it's so hard for championship teams to come back and win the second year. They're kind of resting on what they did the year before. It's almost like a curse, except for the Patriots, right? But everybody else. So always have a compelling future, deciding what's your best life, and continue to re-examine it and change it. Listen, in my 20s, when I first started making money, I was a broke kid, didn't go to school, started making money. You know what success was to me? Is I was able to jump on a plane on a Thursday after work, fly to South Beach, Miami, get a table and dance on a table till 4 o'clock in the morning and party and have fun. Like, that was a compelling future to me at the time. I wanted to go back and do that because I had nothing as a kid. That is so far from exciting to me now than anything on the planet. But that compelling future has changed 20 times since then. So you got to keep changing it, keep analyzing it, make it so it gets you out of bed, and then push it a little further out. Ever since that journey, and starting before that with More Than Millions, I realized that people are searching, like, and again, I digress sometimes, but everybody's in a vehicle, like your wealth creation vehicle, whether that's a job you don't like, or a job you do like, or a business you started, or a business that's crushing, or business that's not doing great. You have this vehicle. And when this vehicle's not working, we're looking on the road of all the other shiny cars. And it's like, oh man, I tried selling stuff on Amazon, that's not working. I'm gonna go in the car business, the real estate business. I'm gonna go in the speaking business, the nutrition business, the supplement. And you're looking for another car to jump in. And I realized people jump from car to car to car their whole life, looking for satiation, looking for satisfaction, looking to make more money. And I got to see it firsthand, Tom, because I was in the business of teaching people how to make money with real estate. And when they would call into customer service, when they would send in for a refund, or I'd see them at an event, they never said, ever, I tried your real estate stuff, it sucks. Never. We used to send surveys to listen and go, how come you're not making money yet? Is it, the time, effort, energy, Dean's training sucks? 1% would pick the training sucks. And what I realized over all these years is that, and the reason I wrote Millionaire Success Habits, is you could literally give someone a business on how to sell $20 bills for $5, and they'd screw it up. Because of their beliefs, because of the fear of rejection, because of the fear of selling, because of the fear of marketing, because other people told them they couldn't, or they feel they need certain criteria, they need initials at the end of their name, like they need all these things. And at the end of the day, what you wrote, your impact theory, you call them beliefs?
Yeah.
Impact theory beliefs. It's kind of the same beliefs that are in my book, but it's also the same beliefs that are in 3/4 of the books that you have in your shelf now, and the incredible people you've interviewed. And I just saw that if we can give people, if we can go upstream, if you can stop jumping from vehicle to vehicle, the vehicle you're in might be the right vehicle, but you don't have the right habits or the right beliefs or the right rules, whatever you want to call it. My book's Habits, so I call them habits. But it's really the foundation for success, so you can overcome the obstacles. You don't let negative people in your life steer you in different directions. It doesn't, even people will ask me about productivity. People say, how do you get so much done? How do you run a business and still coach Little League and baseball and softball? How do you do all those things? It's because of just simple success habits. Like, I just wrote something on this recently. I said, you have to treat your decisions for productivity like binary thinking, which is X's and O's, black or white, yes or no. Is this moving me toward a better version of myself, a wealthier version, a happier version, or is it not? Successful people this doesn't serve that better version of me, I'm not doing it, right? So there's all these little rules, and I think, and I know this, even when I met with Branson, I think people meet someone who's successful. People meet you and they're like, okay, what is it? Like there's this little, like, okay, nobody's looking. Wow, and it lights up and like, here it is, right? And it's not the big thing. Like even when I was sailing with Branson, I wanted to say to him, so what is it? But it's not. When I get done talking to him for 3 hours, he's got the same habits that you have, the same rules that you have written down on that plaque that's amazing. In my opinion, it's never the big things. It's all the little changes you can make in your life, and none of them are dramatic at each level. It's like just following these little principles that have worked for so many years, and you start putting them in your life, and all of a sudden decisions start going easier. The money starts to change. The business starts to do good. The thoughts in your head start to project a bigger future rather than negativity. I think it's the buildup of the habits or beliefs. Did you ever have something where it immediately boiled your blood, made you feel pissed, like anger or adrenaline rushed through, and not in a good way, not positive adrenaline? A lot of times that happens when someone took advantage of you. Sometimes that happens when people lie to you, like blatantly lie to you, or someone causes something when you knew it was going to happen. Like, please don't do that. Please don't do that. They do it and it breaks, or it changes, or the relationship is over, or the business doesn't work, or someone robs money from you. I don't know, maybe you're thinking right now, maybe somebody took advantage of you by being unfaithful in the relationship. Yeah, this is Millionaire Success Habits Podcast, but all of these things lead to a successful life. And that's why I want to share each and every one of you. I want to share this with, because we got to get it. Like, this stuff's got to stick to us. We don't get this by reading one book or listening to one podcast or watching one video. We got to live this. For lack of a better word, we got to stop screwing around. We got to implement this and be a part of our life. So the reason I'm sharing this morning, I bought a piece of property 20 something years ago. I'll just tell you the story at 30,000 feet. So I buy this property 24 years ago, 26 years ago, crazy, long time ago. I bought it with someone, and since then, they kind of bailed out. Little piece of property, not millions of dollars, smaller piece of property. But anyway, long story short, they bailed out. Don't pay the taxes, don't pay the insurance, and then so I've been paying it for years. Now, this has been 20 something years. The property's been sitting there, and I just had it for too long. It's time to I'm going to unload it and sell it to a friend at a huge discount, about a third of what I've paid for the taxes over the year and the insurance on the property, right? So I reach out to the half owner, and all I said was, hey, you know what? We got this property. I'm selling it to a friend just so I don't have to pay the taxes on it. If you want it, you could surely have it. Take over the taxes, but I'm just going to dump it. So could you sign off on it? No reply. Finally, I get a reply this morning, and it's like, well, how much could I get out of it? What kind of money can I get? And after all these years of not saying anything, and all these years of other circumstances where I went above and beyond for this person years and years ago to help out, that's what I got. Now, I'm literally in my car before I go, and I'm looking at text messages just moments ago, and I got furious. Like, it hit me, like maybe it's old feelings, like maybe being picked on when I was little because I was small, or just something hit my ego, something hit my pride, and I was pissed. I'm like, I wanted to reply back, like, what the F do you mean? Like, all that I've done, paid all the taxes, all the other things, all I'm asking is to stop the bleeding, or you could even have the property if you want it. And that's the reply I get, not, hey, thanks for covering the taxes and insurance for all those years. Sorry I haven't brought anything up. Sorry I didn't contribute. But guess what? Here's what I realized. I got mad for probably that something like that could have made me mad 20 years ago for a week. I could have bitched about it. I could have told my friends about it. I would have said, oh, you don't believe what's happening to me. So my first reply was a bit snarky, like not super sarcastic. I'm like, well, then I'm done. You can have it. Take the property. I'll sign it off to you. And I almost sent another one like, what the F, man? Like, why would you? And then I thought about it, and I said, the only person that's hurting is me. I'm going to film a bunch of videos today. I'm at my studio. I just pulled in my office. I'm at my studio. It's 8:24 a.m. as I'm recording this for you. And I'm going to go in and film videos for 3 hours on a training that I freaking love. It's going to be so awesome. You guys will get access to it, and you'll see it, and some new podcasts and all that. If I let that bug me, that's going to screw up how I positively affect you. If I let that bug me, it's going to throw my day off. If I let that bug me, I'm going to not be the same dad to my kids when they come home from school today. I'm not going to be the same person. It's going to throw me off. Guess what? The other person, nothing's going to change for them. The only person it's going to negatively impact by me getting pissed is me. Because can I make them act a different way? Am I in charge of their emotions? Am I in charge of the way they feel? And I thought, maybe they're going through something. Maybe they're financially strapped. Maybe they're fighting with their spouse or their loved ones. And I just sat. This all happened literally in moments. I'm sitting in the car ready to send a wise ass reply. And I said, if I send this, only person that's hurting is me. I'm going to be off today. I won't shoot my videos. I'll start thinking, why would they do this to me? I'm such a good guy in this situation. I went over and above and people take advantage of me. Then I'll start thinking, who else is taking advantage of me? And who else has screwed me over? And why is that happening? And is my accountant doing the right job? Is my secretary doing a good job? That's the path we can go down. Am I perfect? Hell no. I screw this shit up all the time. But I just sat. And I erased the reply I was going to send, and I sent one back and said, okay, no worries. I'll handle it. I hope things are well with you. Have a great day and best wishes on all you do. And I sent it and it was done. It was literally done. The anger I felt, the getting taken advantage feeling I had, it was all done. It was out and it was gone. And let me ask you, what are you holding on to right now that's hindering your success? You want millionaire success habits? Let go of the stuff that's holding you back. Let go of the stuff that builds resentment. Let go of the stuff that allows you not to trust anybody. Let go of the stuff that's stopping you from great relationships. Let go of the stuff that's stopping you from having a partnership. Let go of the stuff that keeps you afraid of going on and venturing out to do your own thing. It's only hurting you. Out of all my years of doing this and being lucky to sell, I wasn't a scientist of selling. I was just I had an innate ability to sell through that passion. And then you get your 10,000 hours in and all of a sudden it becomes good, right? Yeah. So on the job training, of course, right? Of course. But when I look back, and if I go off in an area that you want to reel me back in, reel it back in, but people buy from you, will love you, will learn from you, will give you a promotion when they feel understood. Not when they understand you. And that was one of the biggest lessons ever. When you watch someone who is so full of knowledge, so full of wisdom, and wants to sell their product, sell themselves, get the raise, close the deal at the boardroom, they always want to just exude who they are, their credentials, what they have, and how they could solve the problem. And that will get you so far. Like, being great at sharing who you are will get you out of Egypt. Understand how people feel and letting them feel understood will get you to the promised land, right? So when you go to an audience or you're talking to close a deal, most people want to share. Most of the time you just need to be quiet and find what's going on in that person's life. Be an expert at the temporary state of mind. Like, understand what they're going through at that minute and let them feel understood. When you let people feel understood, when someone's watching you, and you do an amazing job, dude. I've been watching you forever, and I love what you do. But when someone watches you and go, man, that guy gets me. He understands where I'm going at. He understands my struggles. He understands where I want to go. That's someone I can hitch my cart to, rather than someone who's got great credentials and tells you can go, I understand that person, but I don't think he understands where I'm at. Right. And so the two things when it comes to an infomercial, comes to anything with persuasion, the two things I always tell myself is, how do I make sure that person feels understood? And secondly, how do I enter a conversation going on in their mind, not mine? You know, when you were on your sister's couch, you had different struggles, right? Absolutely, now I come to Doheny Drive in LA, you're in a completely different world, a completely different space, flying to the White House and all this stuff that you got going on. The conversations in your head have changed dramatically from when you were on your sister's couch to now. So what happens, and I've watched this with marketers and people in business, as they evolve, they hit a certain, you remember that pain, that passion, the desire for more. I mean, you could probably close your eyes right now and remember that desire and thinking, am I ever going to make it? And even a little bit of envy for maybe some of your buddies who made it, or a little jealousy. Doesn't mean you wished ill thoughts on them, but it's like, damn it, they made it. I don't have it. What if I never get it? If you remember that pain, if you remember that process, you remember that thoughts, you will always serve anybody watching who needs that. But what happens to some people is, as they evolve, and you're going to join the country club, maybe you're going to get married, you're going to move to the suburbs, now you got an accountant and you got 2 assistants, and now should I hire a
private
sales
jets,
team?
yeah.
Got a private jet, and then is the pilot going to be late? And then and then you're like, I got a Facebook team. Should I outsource the Facebook
Right.
marketing? And all of a sudden, your conversations change. You get to do an interview, or you pitch on camera, or you do an infomercial. And all of a sudden, you're having conversations in your head, and your audience feels disconnected.
Yeah.
And you don't even know why. You're like, what did I miss? Because now you're asking questions of a completely different group because you've evolved. So the 2 things, again, I always go back to, even before I turn the camera on, before I go on stage, before I do an infomercial, I said, people buy from you, love you, adore you, will learn from you if they feel understood. And I want to enter conversations going on in their heads, not mine. I just told a story to a dear friend of mine that I haven't shared in ages. And I look back at this story. It's the first time I ever made $1 million. I was in my 20s. It was on a real estate deal. And I say that now, $1 million to me then might as well have been $200 billion. But I look back and I wonder if I would be as creative and as hungry now as I was when I did that deal. Because here's what I know is a lot of times being successful has a lot to do with being naive or not being told no to where you start believing what other people say, to not have watching the news for years so you just want to play small, or listen to people tell you how now this isn't the right time, not the right president. All these things in life, these outside influences, outside game affects the inner game. It makes you play small without even realizing. Like every year you just start playing smaller and smaller. Well, I was in my early 20s. Had no money. I mean, when I say no money, nothing, right? Just working hard. I was hustling cars. I was fixing wrecked cars and selling them. And this piece of property came for sale. Well, it actually wasn't for sale. It came for sale because I became friends with the owner. His name was Mark Miller. He's a famous artist. And he owned 28 acres of vineyards because he owned a winery. And there was an old vineyard, had the grapevine still in it, but the weeds had grown up. And everybody stayed away from this property because he wanted $180,000, and all the neighbors got so used to the property being vacant that one guy shot his bow and arrow. He practiced, his arrow for archery hunting. He practiced on the property. Another guy had his 4-wheeler trail through the whole thing. Another guy, there was a barn on the property. One of the neighbors kind of adopted the barn because it was kind of vacant. No one was around. So he kind of adopted the barn and used it. And to him, it was his. And the other guy up on the hill just wanted complete privacy. He didn't want anybody building next to him. That's in real estate, we call it not in my backyard. I could build a house, but I don't want anybody building in my backyard, right? So everybody stayed away from this property, and plus he was asking maybe a little bit too much. But Mark Miller and I, the gentleman on the property, became friends, and I made a deal with him to give him $90,000 up front and $90,000 in 2 years or a year, something like that. And I was going to subdivide this property. So I didn't have the 90 grand back then, and I told this story prior to one of my clients and friend lent me the money to buy the property. I made him a partner on it. So I went to Mark Miller, I locked up the property, and I go through this. Now, I'm sharing this story specifically, take the lessons out of it, is one of it was being naive. And one of his, and I put this in my first real estate course, which was called Think a Little Different. Because I want to encourage you to think outside the box. Life paints you inside. Life is forcing you in at all times. We go to school and they give us time frames and buzzers and bells and don't talk to anybody else, and sit in your square, sit in your world. Don't stray out. In business, if you don't collaborate with others, you die. But in school, if you do it, it's called cheating. Makes zero sense to me. It's like the world is designed to put you in the box, and the only people who make it to live at their full potential are the ones who break out of the box. So I'm sharing this story because being naive, being young, and being freaking hungry. I mean, I was hungry for another level. There was nobody telling me no. Made this $1 million deal. So buy the property. I start going through the subdivision process, and I'm beg, borrow, and steal. I'm hustling cars during the day to use the money to pay for this subdivision. I have engineers and architects, and then I got to lay out the road, and I'm learning all this stuff about a big subdivision. It's called a major subdivision. I had done a minor subdivision, which was like 3 lots or 4 lots or less. So now I'm doing a major, and all of a sudden it starts. I go to the first planning board meeting, and all the neighbors show up, and they're just like I murdered their children, for lack of a better word. They just despised me. And I'm like, wow, how am I going to do it? And you got to realize, in business, one person upset can stop or cause you years. And I didn't have the money to drag this thing out for years and fight the neighbors and all that kind of stuff. So they go, and one of the guys' name was Wade Sargent. His mother and my mother were best friends growing up. So Wade was still there fighting me. He didn't want this subdivision to go in his backyard. So I walked to Wade's house one day. This is being hungry. This is being not afraid to go after your dreams, not taking no as an answer. When's the last time you gave up too easy and someone else got their dreams, maybe with your idea? So I knock on Wade's door. His name was Wade Sargent. I said, hey, Wade, what's up? Hey, Dean. He was kind of like, you're my friend, but you're trying to ruin my backyard. So I said, Wade, listen, I'm going to make that subdivision happen. It might take me longer. Everybody can fight me. I'm going to make it happen. I don't give up. But how can I make you happy? And what he told me changed everything. He said, well, I just really don't want the road to go close to my backyard. If I had a little buffer, he said, if I had a little buffer, I'd be fine. I'd support you. I'm like, well, by buffer, you mean if I sold you a piece of that property, you'd be happy? He said, yeah, would you do that? I said, heck yeah, I'll take your money. So I do a lot line revision, not even a subdivision. You don't have to know real estate to understand this. I did a lot line revision, and I gave him a half of an acre, and he cut me a check. I'm like, wow. I went to all the neighbors. The guy that was using the barn like it was his, carved out an acre and sold him the barn. The guy that wanted privacy, I sold him 4 acres. Another guy wanted a 2-acre cushion. Next door neighbor wanted to sell some lot, wanted to put a house for his daughter on his property someday. I ended up selling over $250,000 worth of lot line revisions to the neighbors. And all of them happy. All of a sudden, all of them from hating me, everybody staying away from this property, they all love me. I was the guy going down the road, they high-fived me, they waved to me. And then guess what? Then I subdivided the center piece of property and sold the center for over $800,000. Brought in over $1 million on this piece of property by making the neighbors happy. Now, people much smarter than me, developers in our town, looked at that property, told me I was crazy. Rick Affuso's dad told me, because he had farmed that property when he was a kid, and I respected him. He was a great real estate developer in our little town. And he told me, you paid $180 for that property, you just lost your butt. He didn't say but. You just lost your ass, he said. And I was like, damn it, maybe I did. But they were all looking at it from inside the box. I was desperate. I was hungry. I didn't take no for an answer. And I looked at it completely different. Like the name of my first course, Think a Little Different. Where in your life right now are you inside the box and you don't realize it, and you need to think a little different? That's where change happens. That's where innovation happens. That's where breakthroughs happen. That's when people go, holy crap, how did he do that? How did she do that? It's by not taking no for an answer, not looking at it through a set of glasses that everybody has. Everybody's got the same glasses on. Wear a different pair. Look at things differently. Go for it. Don't let the world talk you into being complacent.
I listen to people all the time, and they're always telling me their old story.
Yeah.
You know, they live in their old story, and they don't know it.
They don't know it.
But just the concept of a story overall that we tell ourselves, you speak about that probably more eloquently than anybody that I've heard. So just touch on the whole concept of the cognizance of the story we tell ourselves.
Yeah, so I think, even with me, like I said, I had to catch myself. I was telling myself a story that maybe I should have stayed with the real estate brand. Maybe success, there's so many people diluting it that haven't had the success, they don't recognize the real thing. Like I had all kinds of stories. I'd look at people like, God, that guy seems like a scammer. Why has he got 3 million followers? Like I started telling myself stuff, and I felt bad, and I wasn't having the momentum that I know how to create. And then all of a sudden I changed that story, and I said, no, I know what I want to do for people. I'm the freaking best at it. There's nobody better than me. Give me a year, I'll be far surpassed it, and then they'll realize they're actually learning from someone who's done it. And nothing changed. God didn't come down, the weather didn't change, my bank account didn't change. Nothing changed except my story. So the part that I want to share is, I did an interview with a young kid, Casey Adams.
Love Casey.
Yeah, so Casey asked, so he asked me, great kid, and he said, hey man, at the end, maybe he asked you, he said, you as a young kid, and there's a lot of young kids listening, what would be the one thing that you would tell people? And I'd never been asked that, and literally what just came out is that your thoughts lie to you, and to question those thoughts. Because when I look back at what stalled me or almost had me fail, or the people around me, it had nothing to do with who's president, whether you like the president or not, if he's crazy or not, the economy, your family, your friends holding you down, a job that takes too much time. It's never any of that. The only thing standing between you and your next level, a better version of you, not being me, not being Ed, not just a better version of you. The only thing, and you might not believe me right now, but I promise you someday you will. The only thing standing between you and your next level, a better version of you, is the story you tell yourself on why you can't get it. That's it.
So good.
I mean, I think about it. I remember having a real estate deal when I was broke, and it's $1 million deal, and I got $4 in the bank. And I remember saying, I'll never get this money. And I never could. And then all of a sudden I'm like, no, screw that. I'm getting this money. And I would find it. It didn't matter if I had to beg, borrow, steal, some with the bank, some on credit cards, borrowing from this guy. I'd make the deal happen when nothing else changed. I didn't inherit money. I didn't get smarter. My IQ didn't go up. I didn't have a Harvard education. I just willed it by changing the story. So I guess an easy way for you guys to think about right now, if you talk about where you would love to be, it's a year from now, it's the greatest year of your life, and you'd love to be there. I'd love to be, working on my own company. I'd love to launch my own company. I'd like to have more time with my wife or my husband and my kids. Just say, but. And then fill in whatever that but is. That's usually your story. But my boss keeps me too busy. But my wife doesn't support me. But my family thinks I'm crazy. But I'm not that smart. But it takes money to make money. That's your story. That's the thing. That's your anchor. You're dragging across the desert. Flip that story, and immediately that becomes the wind behind your sail. I mean, I don't want to oversimplify it, but at this phase of my life, it is oversimplified. And I still run into it. I will catch myself being in a space, worried about something with my kids, worried about anything, and I'm like, why is this bugging me? Why is this? Oh, because I'm telling myself lies. I'm telling myself some stuff. I change it, and then I change in a second. Life is short. It's going by a gazillion miles an hour. We got one shot at this. We might as well squeeze every bit of juice out of life we possibly can. So, with that said, the lesson I taught my daughter, my son too, I could have a great story to him, but I love keeping these around 7-8 minutes so you can get some wisdom, get some, and go out and take action with it. Winners win when no one else is watching. How many foul shots do you think Michael Jordan took when no one else was in the gym, right? How many shots did Wayne Gretzky take when no one else was on the ice, right? How many times has LeBron James practiced and woke up sore and couldn't move that no one else sees? Yes, he gets the glory. Everybody goes nuts. Me and Tony every year invites me to the finals, and I'm blessed. I'm not even gonna say I got it. Tony gets the half court on the floor seats. Tony Robbins, those seats are probably 40 grand each. I don't even know. Invites me every year. I sit there. I watch LeBron James play 3 or 4 times now. It's unbelievable, and he gets the praise, and the audience I watched Cleveland go insane when they won. But guess what? He did that when no one else is watching. You don't get the glory. My daughter last night, everybody praised her. They won the first game. They lost the second one in the last inning. I was so disappointed. But they won the first game. I watched everybody high-fiving her. She loved it. But if she didn't practice, she wouldn't get any of that. So remember that. Doing this work, listening to this, watching this, going through my courses, other people who are playing the game, you're doing the work when no one else is watching. And when you soar, let them admire you, let them envy you. In fact, be the inspiration to pull some people with you. No matter what you're doing, even if you hate it, realize it's temporary and be amazing at it. I sat down with John Paul DeJorio, who started Tequila, Patron and Sassoon. And he said he hated. His
name's come to me a couple times this week. Go ahead.
He said he hated when he had a janitorial job when he was a kid. But he said, man, it was my job. I cleaned the boss came to him and said, man, I lifted up the desk. You cleaned under the desk. He's like, the guy thought I loved the job. I hated it. I just did it the best. And I realized one of my first real estate deal did over $1 million. True story. I was fixing a guy's car. And I'm in the collision shop. I'm gonna be completely transparent. I hated the collision shop. I ended up being the only painter because I got good at it. So every night when everybody left, I'd paint for 3 hours. The ventilation wasn't good. I'd have headaches. I hated every inch of it, but you'd never know. If you came in, you'd be like, that guy loves being in the collision shop. I knew it was temporary. Because don't think I'm just gonna schlub through this job and then my magic will come. You'll be screwed. You'll stay there because how you do one thing is how you do everything. So I'm literally in the collision shop. I have this guy, he comes down, he's like, my God, my car looks great, thank you so much. We get talking, become kind of friends really quick, and he says, what are you up to? I'm like, well, I'm doing this, but I'm working on my day job. My night job is real estate. I'm gonna take real estate to a whole nother level. He's like, what do you got going on? At that time, I was working on a deal for $180,000 to buy an old vineyard.
Okay.
And I didn't have the money. I scraped up every credit card I had. I came up with like 45 grand. The seller agreed to sell it to me for half down and half in 2 years. I needed 45 grand. I tell this guy the story. I said, but I'm going to get it. He goes, yeah, you're going to get it because I'm going home to get it for you.
Oh my gosh.
Now, what if I was like, oh, I hate collision. Yeah, here's your keys.
Yeah.
I made $1 million on that deal. It was the first one ever, documented.
Awesome.
I sold that property. I killed it on that property. Killed it.
What a great
all the
story.
All the neighbors didn't want me to build on the property, and I was fighting them. And then I realized, wow, what if I sell it to them? So I sold them all a piece around, and I crushed it. I killed it. So
story.
that's the first thing.
Yeah.
So no matter what you're doing, find a way to be enthusiastic, knowing that maybe the universe, God, whatever you believe in, is putting you through your trial run to deserve that. I remember in my own life when I started getting success, I was working my guts out. I was working on cars during the day. I was working at real estate at night. And then before I did my first like education course, I was doing cars during the day, real estate at night, and setting the alarm at 5 in the morning. From 5 to like 9 in the morning, I'd work on trying to figure out how to write a course on how to do what I did in my life and how to be successful. I was so confused. I did all that. And guess what? I did that for years. For years, I'm just being honest, I put in lots and lots of hours. I had fun, I enjoyed myself, I played hard too, but I put in a lot of time. But then when it finally hit and I got a little momentum, do you know, I heard a lot of my friends say, oh, you lucky bastard. In fact, I had a joke for a while. It made me think. I had a joke for a while that when I try something new that's out of the norm, which most people wouldn't try, people either say, oh, Dean got lucky, you lucky bastard, or if I tried and failed, it's like, I knew that idiot wouldn't make it. There's nothing in between. And you know what? Awesome. Screw it. I don't care. I don't dislike my friends who said all that stuff. I'm still friends with them. Some of them since 5th grade. But they're going to look through life through a lens of they're satisfied with okay. They're satisfied making okay money. They're satisfied with okay relationship. They're satisfied with being an okay parent. They're satisfied with an okay career that doesn't light them up. Screw that. I'm not satisfied with it. I'd rather fail miserably. If I look back on my deathbed, would you, you too, let me ask you, would you let her look back on your deathbed and be like, hey, you know what? Played it safe, didn't go after anything, but you know, I lived an okay life. That, excuse my language, I felt like saying it and I said it. And if you have someone younger listen, I'm sorry, I feel bad now, but that's the emotion I feel. And if you're listening to me, if you're listening to my podcast, then you feel the same way. I just was having this conversation with my girlfriend Lisa on the way here, and we were talking about the things that drive you and the things that want to be, you know, it's funny you say, like, I have so many different emotions at once.
Yeah.
But she comes from an amazing family, just like you said your wife did.
Yeah.
Like, amazing. She has, there's 5 siblings, their parents are together, they're on a text string every day. They all talk every day. Like, her phone's always blowing up and going off, and it's always inspirational, and they all support each other. One just lost their job, and their whole family's like, well, I'll get together, and it's finally time you start your own business anyway, and I'll build the website, I'll give you the money. Like, it's unbelievable what they do, and I love both my parents. My mom and dad are amazing, but I didn't have that. They split at 3. I was 3 when they split, and I lived with mom and then dad and grandma, and they moved, you know, I moved 20 times by the time I was 19, right? So it was all this insecurity. So, but again, that was my journey. It made me the man I am. So for me, one of the things is that I don't have something to refer to be a good dad. My father's father was physically abused all the kids. Some of them were sexually abused. And his father did that. I look at this long lineage of screwed up Graziosis, and I knew it was going to stop with me. Like, my sister did it. She's an amazing mother. Actually, my nephew works for me. Incredible kids, like the greatest kid you ever met. She stopped it, and I want to do the same thing. So I'm always in. Like, you and I, when we talk later, we'll probably just talk about being a parent, because I love interviewing and talking to other great parents, because I want to learn, because I don't have a blueprint. Like I said, Lisa, she's got the blueprint. She grew up in it. Right? So for me, I want to be a better man and always want to continue to grow so I can set an example and change the way my kids see life and experience life. I don't want to raise entitled brats. That's the last thing this world needs. I want them to have hunger and drive and be good people. And one thing I'll share with you, a dear friend of mine, he's about 15 years older than me, he said to me, and he's done extremely well, extremely well. And he said, I think at the end of our lives, when you're on your deathbed, I don't think we'll ask any other question because you're a parent like me. He said, you're a dad like me. I could see it. Because I think the question we're going to ask ourselves is, did we do everything we could to give our kids the tools to live a fulfilled life? I said, because I don't think anything, you won't say, how many women did I sleep with? How much money did I make? How many buildings did I buy? It'll be like, wow, did I give the kids? And he said, you'll be able to go off to the next place. If you could say yes, you did your best. He goes, but what if you can't say that? And for me, it's like, that's all I think about. It's like, that's one of the things. I can't be the perfect, I do everything I can to be a great dad, just like you. But fundamentally, I want to give them the tools to be thriving adults.
Me too.
And that's just one, but that, I could talk about that. I want to go conquer something right now thinking about that.
So David Kekage is a friend of a friend, really, but I've met him a couple times. Great guy. And he was paralyzed from the neck down. A guy that was into health and fitness and taking care of his body. And living in a wheelchair, not being able to do anything for himself, he's thrived on a whole new level and does so much for innovating and helping other people with the same circumstances. But the reason I'm sharing this is because he did 30 Kekage credos to live by if you want to live a joyful life. And this is somebody in a wheelchair now. Remember the obstacles he has every single day when he wakes up. Can barely swallow on his own. Think about that, right? So one of his credos is, if you live life the hard way, it's easy. And if you live life the easy way, it's hard. And here's what I equate that to. We have to pick our pain. Think about that. Now, let's just use a silly analogy. Is working out easy? No, it's a pain in the butt. Going to the gym, it might be hard. It's painful, right? But not exercising and not working out, will that be painful someday in your life? Will it be that you're out of shape and you get heart failure? Will it be out of shape and you're overweight and get diabetes? Will it be out of shape that you don't have muscle tone and you break a hip someday? You might be young, not thinking about that now, but living the easy way of no working out, can that be more painful? Absolutely. What about eating healthy? Can it be painful to eat the right food and not choose the greasy fried food and not get up and have a coffee and a donut and try to have green juices and live green veggies and eat lean protein and do those things? Is that a pain? Yeah. And it's kind of hard. It's the hard way. It's the hard way, but it gives you an easy life. So you're full of abundance, joy. You feel healthy. You want to thrive. You can run. If you have kids, you can move, or when you have kids someday, or you can live to see your great grandchildren, right? So living the hard way, meaning do the right thing, eat the right food, work out, might be a little hard, but that's the path to an easy life. If you want to live the easy way now and not work out and eat terrible food, maybe it's temporarily easy, but will that give you long-term health and satisfaction? And even if you make the money without your health, are you really wealthy? Heck no, right? But think about that also with your success. This is the Millionaire Success Habits podcast. But the foundation for success is if I gave you the tools to make money, but didn't share with you that you should be fulfilled and satisfied and healthy, then I'm just a fraud. Because it all ties together. If you got money out of the way today, the next thing you would be worried about or thinking about is, how do you live the best version of you? How do you be the best mom, dad, son, brother, cousin, spouse, right? So I want you to think about it when it comes to your next level of income, next level of long-term wealth, or starting a side business. The easy way is hard in the long run. The easy way is to settle for the job that you're in that's killing you. The easy way is to look for a magic money machine online and not spend time with your habits. The easy way is hope that someone does it for you. The easy way is to hope the government changes the rules and more money comes to you. That's all the easy way. And what do? You sit around and hope for years and years and years, and then you look back at the end of your life and time is gone. You look back at the end of your life and you go, I wish I would have gone after it harder in the beginning. So the hard way may be listening to podcasts like this, reading books like Millionaire Success Habits and all the other books that come from people that are actually doing it, or get enrolled in courses, or get involved in a mastermind, or dig deep to find the research to know if you're in the right path, if you're in a future-proof industry or not. Yeah, that might be a little harder now. It might be harder now to wake up when everybody in your family tells you you're insane, when your friends and relatives say you should be happy with the life you have, or people tell you you don't have enough money, you don't have the right education, you don't live in the right area, you don't have the right pedigree, you didn't get the right degree. People can all tell you that. And it's hard to overcome them. It's hard to overcome getting up and going for it. It's hard to overcome procrastination. It's hard to overcome getting sucked into social media. Go check your bank account and 2 hours go by going down rabbit holes of stupid things. That's hard. It's hard if you're in a relationship and the other person thinks that you should be strict and steady in your job and do the right thing and follow the rules. It's hard to step out of the line when 98% of the world listen to somebody else. They live a mediocre life. They live an okay life. Do you want to live an okay life? Or do you want to live an outstanding life? Do you want to live a good life? How's your relationship? Good. How's your health? Good. How's your income? Good. How's your job? Good. Do you want to live good? Or do you want to live excellence? Do you want to live great? Do you want to live an outstanding life? If we do, then David Kekich has it right. The Kekich credo that if you want to live the hard way now gives you the easy life. The easy way now gives you the hard life. I screwed up in my marriage. My ex screwed up. We both screwed up. We admit our faults. We admit where we ignored the wrong things, where we pushed things off so far it was too late by the time we wanted to fix it. With all the good I've done, with all the positivity, I messed up. And I can admit that. And I hope that you can admit where we mess up. We do. But how do I honor those mistakes? By never making them again. I will never make the same mistakes. I give my ex the most respect, love. I'm still her family. She still got my back. I still got hers. We still are going to make sure the kids are first. And I see another level of life for me and my kids beyond anything I could ever imagine. Knowledge, amazing. You need it. Following others who have conquered the game before you and are crushing it. You need it. You must get in a mastermind. Learn from people playing the game at the highest level possible. Masterminds and group training have literally moved the needle for me more than anything in the history of the world. Knowledge, when it's thought through, when it's practiced, when it's in play, becomes wisdom. You're learning wisdom from most if you go to the right mastermind, the right group, the right mentor. People will buy from you and learn from you when they feel understood, not when they understand you. Did you hear that? That's one of the biggest secrets to my success. People will buy from you, do business from you, with you, learn from you when they feel understood, not when they understand you. Most people want to just vomit up all their experience, vomit up on how good they are, vomit up on how great their product is, and you don't even know what the person on the other side is thinking. Think about that with salesmen. Do you like a pushy salesman when you go to buy a car that comes out and says, I've been doing this for 30 years. I got this experience. This little baby'd be perfect for you. It's fast, it's quick, it's a 2-seater, it's this. And he doesn't realize you showed up because you want an SUV because you have 4 kids. Like, wouldn't it have been better if you just walked out and said, hey man, out looking for a car. What's up with your family? What do you got going on? And just listened. People buy from you when they feel understood, when there's a connection. And something I just always love saying is, because it really affected me when I was young, stop trying to get good at the things you suck at too. I need to say that because it's the biggest lie we've ever been told. It dings our confidence when I still can't read. If I wrote you 2 sentences in an email, half the words would light up misspelled, and some of them are so bad that I tried 3 different times to spell it, and the computer can't even, like, if it could talk to me, it'd be like, idiot. Like, what are you trying to say? I have no freaking clue what you're saying, and then I just put, like, good. You know? Like,
yes, I completely relate to that.
But what it does is, let me just ask you, watching or listening right now, if you work on something you suck at, does it make you feel empowered? Does it make you feel like you want to, like me trying to do accounting? Like, could never do it. It's not my personality. So, what I know about the most successful people on the planet, including you, Ed, you just got really great at a few things.
Correct.
The things that light you up, the things that inspire you, and when that fire starts, you can't stop it, and eventually you'll pay someone to do the things you suck at. Maybe you can't afford that now, but just don't let anybody give you a bill of goods on working on the things. Try to get better at what you're failing. No, just go get great at a few things. And
I wish I could debate you on that, but I can't because I 100% agree.
Credit card parenting. I don't know if you've ever heard that phrase before. It means pay now or pay later. I don't know if you ever heard the old Indian proverb that a man with his health has 1,000 wishes and one without has but one. I want to really emphasize the importance of keeping yourself healthy, exercising, eating right. Now, you might say, wow, what does this got to do with success? It has everything to do with success. Because here's what I know. If you don't pay now, like the credit card parenting, if you don't take care of yourself now, if you put off until tomorrow that you're going to start eating better or start moving or start exercising, it compounds. And it's that much harder not only to get in shape, but it's hard to reverse it. I mean, listen, if you could fast forward your 75-year-old self
and you knew you were visiting the hospital on a weekly basis. You were sick, you had a disease, you had diabetes, you weren't as healthy as you could be, you'd do anything in your power to change that today. I'd love people to really think about is their thoughts. Have you ever read The Untethered Soul?
No.
Got to put it on your list.
Okay.
How about Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now?
Sure, yeah.
You read that?
I have, yes.
Okay, so and Untethered Soul is, for me, it's that and so much more. It's a great book.
Wow.
So I don't know if you had another question. So I'll reframe that. It's that one.
Yes.
But if there's one specific question, I'd love for people to say, how do you be the observer of your thoughts? And that's something.
So how do you?
Yeah, and that's something I would. And the only reason I say this is because I've been obsessed with it for the last 3 years, because I want to be the observer of thoughts immediately. And I'm not there yet. I want it to trigger, because when you're having a bad day, an angst day, a stressful day, you feel off or overwhelmed, most of the time it's just the thoughts we're having in that particular day. And when you can look back and view those thoughts, you can make a decision to throw them out or not let that spin you up, or feel it for 10 minutes and then throw it out. But when you leave them there, they just linger. And the more I've become aware of my thoughts, the more I've evolved as a person. So I'm sitting here because my daughter, you're probably bored to death, hon. Love you. She's doing great over there. I'm going to tell a story about her. I am trying to observe my thoughts as they happen. Yeah. So I don't know if she'll remember this, but we were, and I'm sharing this as my story, but I want you to put yourself in these shoes. This could be your husband, your wife, your kids, your coworker, your partner, people you do business with, employer, employees. But we're at breakfast, and breakfast is really important to our family. We have breakfast every single day, and I cook for them most of the time. And so we sit at breakfast and we try to have conversations about gratitude and all this kind of stuff. And my son, Brody, was obsessed with these crayons. And they were like these crazy colors. They weren't red. They were like aqua blue, marine, something.
Sure.
So I'm sitting there using them, and I pull it out. I go, God, this is a cool color. And he names it. And I'm telling this for a reason. So I pull out another. He names all. I was at 25 or 50 in that pack. So he names all of them, these big, long names. I'm like, dude, what an incredible gift. I couldn't memorize these if I spent a month trying.
Right.
It's not how my brain thinks. But that's him. He's this structured, organized kid. Huh. So Bree, she says to me, I can do that. So I don't know if you remember this, hon, but she studied it. And like 5 minutes later on the second one, she didn't remember. I'm like, we're all blessed with different gifts. I couldn't remember. He does that, but my daughter's the inventor. She comes up with ideas that are real, not kid inventions. She's going to be amazing. She's going to be the visionary. My son's going to be the implementer. If you ever read Rocket Fuel, that's the two kids I have. I have an implementer and a visionary, right? So when she tried, all of a sudden, she got upset and started almost crying. And she said, because there was so much attention going to my son.
Of course.
And she says, Dad, it's because you spend more time with Brody than me in the mornings. And I remember just having the immediate thought that may have came from my dad or the way I was brought up. And I said to her, Bree, don't lie to me and don't lie to yourself. That's not true. I work my butt off to be completely equal, and you're telling yourself a lie. It's not a good story. And I went on this rant, and she tucked it up. She stopped tears. She tucked it up. It was the first time ever that she left the house without kissing me goodbye, ever. And I'm like, well, she just got to learn that lesson. Yeah. And she left for about a half hour, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, I observed that thought I had. And what I basically told my daughter is that I didn't give a shit about her feelings, that it didn't matter how she felt.
Right.
That Dad was right. Tuck it down. I said if she was married to a man and I watched her try to tell her husband about her feelings, how she was feeling, and he basically told her to shut up and tuck it down, I'd have a talk with that dude if he's married to my daughter. And I treated my daughter that way. I got in my car because I'm sharing this because I practiced trying to observe what's going on. Why am I feeling this way? What is this thought I'm having? Step back, look at it. When I stepped back and looked at it, I knew I screwed up. I drove to school 100 miles an hour.
Even if you were right.
Even if I was right. No,
but it's not about...
I might have been right that I keep equal time.
Yes.
But I didn't acknowledge her feelings.
Exactly.
I didn't acknowledge her feelings. I mean, and that's the gift of selling. It's not what people need. It's what they want and how they feel, right? So I told her feelings were off. I drove to her school 100 miles an hour. You were at chapel. Do you remember I came and got you out of chapel? I got her out of chapel, and I walked her outside, and I said, Dad screwed up. I said, I may have been right in context, but I wasn't right in telling you your emotions mean something, your feelings mean something. And we had a great talk. We hugged, we kissed. Her and I had the best relationship in the world. And I left. And I felt amazing, and she felt amazing. And I never would have caught that if I wasn't observing my thoughts. So I say that story about my family, my daughter who's sitting here right now, but who are you not
what thoughts are clouding your judgment in a marriage or in a relationship or in your partnership or trying to get a raise or taking your life to another level, whatever it is in your life, most of the time it's those thoughts that are messing with us. And if you can, you can observe them, you can adjust them.
Some of you are going slow. It's okay. Just keep moving forward. Be a better version of yourself today than last week, last month, last year. That's all we can ask. Because when you stop that, when you cross your arms and just hope the outside world gets better, that's when the world eats your lunch. And, we're just not having that. Hey guys, so I'm taking a little walk a little later in the day today. A little hot out here, but it's getting better here in Arizona. Appreciate you guys so much. Seriously, there's so many incredible comments every single day. Okay, today, here's a quick message for today. I gotta be honest with you. I went over a decade without watching the news because I don't like to do anything in my life that robs my confidence or makes me feel scared, robs my courage, robs my desire to move forward. I do like being a little blind to it sometimes because then I can focus on me. I can change the world if I change things in my family, change things in my home, my community, my town, with my team, the people I get to impact, right? Getting sucked into the news, man, it could really get you, right? But it's not just the news in my life. I try to do everything, and I know if you guys know anything about me, or what I teach at least, is that I do everything in my power to feed the inner hero that lives inside of me, and everything in my power to crush, kill, and destroy the inner villain. That inner villain's really just self-doubt, worrying about what's going wrong. None of you have ever done that, right? Neither have I. You've never started with one thing that could go wrong, and it snowballed into more and more and more, and finally you feel almost paralyzed, like stuck, right? Yeah, we've all done it. So it's our job to crush that inner villain and evoke and empower our inner hero. Name it whatever you want. I just give it silly names because it's easier for me. But I gotta tell you, I want to be completely transparent with you. I got a couple dear friends that are smart as heck. You would know both of them if I mentioned their name, and they're really worried about our future, and I am as well too. Living here in America, and some crazy things going on, from COVID to so many other things. Doesn't matter where you are on the spectrum of conservative, liberal, Republican, Democrat, moderate. It doesn't matter where you are. It's a little crazy time in America. We could admit that. So I try not to get sucked into it because I feel like the only way I can make an impact is be the best version of me and contribute that way. But I have to tell you, this weekend, I got sucked into a rabbit hole of reading obsessively. Now, when I say read, you got to really look at things objectively. Because in our world, here in America, at least if you're watching someplace else, we have two different kind of news organizations. There's Fox News and there's everybody else. And depending on what you watch, it is the two completely different stories in the world. I'm not telling you which one you should watch or who you should be. I'm just telling you it is like the sky is blue. No, it's not. The sky is green. Or like completely different worlds. So you could go down a rabbit hole of either one, or you could really just dive in and see where we are as a country, where we are, and wherever you live in the world, right? Same with you. But I have to tell you, I got sucked in this week, and it reminded me of those insecurities that most people feel, starting worrying so much that it literally stalled me. It had me nervous about moving forward, nervous about doing the things that really can make a difference in my world, that can make a difference in the outside world. Yes, we have more control than you think. And it just made me realize, oh my God, this is one of the hardest things in the world, is to keep those elements out or protect yourself from those things that rob your confidence, that rob your desires, rob your dreams. And here's the deal. You got to realize, when you feed your inner villain, the self-doubt, the imposter syndrome, with just a little bit, when you start thinking that, it's a snowball. It gets bigger and bigger. And guess what? With all that coming in, even if you think you're strong, if you just play a little small, if you hold back just a little bit, that's enough to let life pass you by. That's enough for you to miss out. So the reason I'm sharing this today is I want
I woke up this morning and literally I took 10 minutes and I had like an exorcism. I like pushed all that out. It's true. And there's a lot of crazy things going on in the world. There's a lot of things I want to help with. There's a lot of things I want to change. And I will do my part. I will, from donating the money to helping contribute, to share, to be there. I will do everything in my power. I will vote. I will do all. But outside that, I have to focus on me. I have to focus on being the best version of me. I have to focus on protecting my family, delivering you capabilities, keeping you strong, not stuck in your head. We get to change the world by staying in our inner hero, to crush imposter syndrome, to crush self-doubt and say, yes, those things are going on, but I can't change it unless I become empowered, unless I become the best version of me. I literally had to go through a freaking toxic waste dump of where I let myself go this weekend, and now I'm back on track, thinking about a bigger future, knowing I can get it done, taking on hard things now so I can live easier later, to serve you at the highest level. Don't you miss out on you. Don't you let outside influences and people tell you how bad things are and it's not going to work. That's their journey. That's their life. God didn't give them your dreams and your goals. They gave them to you. We have to live inside and awaken and evoke our inner hero, the strong one, the confident one, the one that's courageous, that's already done so many incredible things in your life. We have to empower that version of us, because if we let the inner villain take control, that self-doubt, it will stop us dead in our tracks, and we'll think this is for other people. It's not the right time. We got to do something different. And 5 years will go by just like that. And then you'll be back looking for the self-education revolution. And we'll be here. This family will be here crushing it, but you'll be 5 years behind. Can't have that happen. That's it for today. Feed the inner hero. Crush the inner villain. Don't let the outside world control you. Be the thermostat of life, not the thermometer. The thermometer goes up and down based on what's going on around you. Thermostat, you get to adjust. That's how we win. It's how we help others. It's how we serve each other.
There's probably not much I'm sharing today you haven't heard before. You've read it in books, you've heard it someplace, you've watched a video or a podcast, but what I'm gonna ask you to do for the first time is actually listen and apply it. And that's been my mission lately, is like, I know there's some of the things, success principles are the same since the beginning of time. Yep. But when is it time to stop being inspired, stop just watching Ed, and start just doing what Ed does? Like, when is that time to stop looking for the next hit of a great podcast, the next hit of watching Tony or Dean or Ed or Andy or somebody watching, feeling good, and then going back to the same routine? What if this was the time? What if this was the interview? What if this was the moment you said, I'm not just gonna listen, I'm gonna start to do? I want you to look through the lens of the things we do or the things we could be doing when someone else is watching. So think about it this way. I'm in the happiest relationship of my life. I'm married to my best friend. I think she's the most beautiful woman in the world. I fall more in love with her every day. But that wasn't always the case, and I'm not gonna go deep in it because I shared with some of you, I messed up on past relationships. I went through a divorce, and I could say that now because I'm in this great place, but it wasn't fun, especially wasn't fun for my children. Right? It scared me to death. I had anxiety, like the worst anxiety I'd ever had in my entire life, like crippling anxiety when I was worried about my kids, and would they be able to adapt, and would they be fragmented, and would they have to be one person for their mom and one person for their dad, and I worried about everything possible. But do you know what the one thing that allowed me to finally make the decision? And my ex wanted the relationship over too. It wasn't a one decision. I had lived in the guest room for a long time, and we found out a way to be co-parents, and everybody's got their story, right? But I have to tell you, this question, the question I want to ask you guys, and what I'm going to talk about today is, you know, the one thing that really made the difference? It had been years. I mean, a whole handful of years, since at least 5 years, since we gave each other a kiss, held hands, were romantic, slept in the same room, and all those types of things. Listen, I never talked about relationships back then. I talked about business, marketing, impact, sales, personal development. I didn't talk about relationships because mine wasn't so great. We had a good friendship. We never fought. But you know what got me? Is a dear friend of mine said, I gotta ask you something, Dean. I feel like you and the mom of my children, you guys are doing something. You think you're keeping this all together for the children, right? When they grow up, how would you feel if they had the same exact relationship you guys are in? And that freaking floored me. It floored me. She She said, you think you'd want your daughter not to be in a relationship where you're friends and there's no hand holding, there's no love, there's no, we go to a restaurant and I sit with one and you sit with the other and all this kind of stuff. And when he said that, I literally went and talked to my ex and shared that with her, and she said, we have to end this. And we figured out a way to do it amicably, and we put the kids first, and she's a dear friend, and thank God, it worked out in a really amazing way for everybody. She's the happiest she's ever been in her life. The happiest, right? And so am I. But I have to tell you, looking through that lens of no more bullshit, do I really want my kids to emulate and be in the same situation? Now my kids get to see their dad in love every day, hold hands every day, kiss every day, walk in the room, and my wife is the most important human being on this planet to me, right? They get to see this connection, and I watch my kids light up when they see their dad holding hands, kissing. They're like always smiling, always laughing, and they see what's possible by example. So I'm sharing that with you because I want to frame this day as, what about in your career? Are you in a job or in something that's not kind of filling your soul or allowing you to make the economic impact on your family that you'd like? But it's good enough. It's okay. I mean, you'll start that business sooner or later. You'll launch KBB when time allows, or you'll get there. But for now, it's okay. And I'm not saying go out and quit, but what I'm saying is, looking through that same lens, would you want your children to be in that same situation? Right? Like the $1 million racehorse. Why is it okay that you want to give everything to your child? I know I do. I want my children to be richer, smarter, better looking, happier, joyful. I want them to be 1,000 times better than me. I want them to go, oh, Dean was 1.0. His kids are 4.0. His grandchildren are 6.0. Oh my God, by the time I get to my great-grandchildren, I want them to make fun of what a pathetic weakling loser I was. Like, that's what I hope, right? If we want that for them so much, and if you're not a parent, it's okay. You can still feel those same emotions. You can understand what we're talking about here. If we want that for them, then why the hell don't we deserve it for us? Right? Like, how do we pierce this heart? How do we pierce this self-doubt? How do we pierce the thinking that we have that got us here? Our best thinking got us right here. It takes another level of thinking, another level of passion, another level of feeling uncomfortable and being disturbed with where you are to move. It's the spaceship. It takes all the energy to get it like 100 feet off the ground. Once it's out of the atmosphere, it hits a little button and goes fast. But it takes all that energy to get off the ground. So my goal in some of my trainings each month is to give you that burst of energy to get done today and go, screw it, I'm freaking doing this. Like, nothing is going to stop me. And I know so many of you are massively successful. This isn't about, oh, you're pathetic and this. It's about where you are. You know there's another level. That's all it is. And it doesn't mean that it's never enough. Listen, God didn't put us on this earth to settle. I think at the end of our life, if we have the opportunity to talk to our maker, he's not going to say, I'm so glad you found your groove at 24 years old and kind of settled for another 70 years. Like, that's not what he wants. That's not what we're designed for. I always say Dale Carnegie's quote, my favorite one by him. He said, the biggest plight of the human race is knowing you have more potential and you're not using it. Like, you say that, you're like, yeah, yes, right? So how do we trick ourselves into knowing that we deserve this? We deserve to take uncomfortable action, to fail forward and to figure it out. Because if you think about that, how are we with, I know this is far away from business and stuff, but how are we with kind of our inner peace? Like, making amends with ourselves. We help our kids solve problems. We help our kids not have regrets. We help our kids not have enemies or let go of pain. Like, maybe I'm wrong, but like, wherever we are, we want what's best for them. We know, we've studied it. Well, simultaneously, internally, you might be fighting with yourself and still have that person that you need to forgive, or forgive yourself for the mistakes in the past, or forgive yourself for procrastinating, or forgive yourself that you were scared up to this point, or forgive yourself that you screwed up the relationship. It was you. We want our kids to forgive themselves. We want them to forgive others. We want them to work on being grateful and having gratitude. And simultaneously, we wake up sometimes and our guts are spinning while we're helping someone else. Is it true? So if that's the case, why are we waiting to fix this in the next generation? You got a lot of years left on this earth. Let's fix it with us. Remember, like, just think, this this is what I try to do all the time is if I stay this way, my kids are going to be that way. I literally punish myself that way. Because if I stay this way, they're going to be this way. There's nothing I can do to change it, right? Another thing I wrote down is like, who are we when no one's watching? Like we think we can put this facade on in front of our children, right? It could be children, it could be spouse, it could be partner, it could be friends. But we get to put this face on in front of other people, right? But then who are we when no one's around? Because I still believe our kids become who we are when no one's around. I think kids are the biggest lie detector, bullshit detector, excuse my language. Like they just feel who you are and they become it. Most people are wrong that are giving you advice. The other thing I'll say is the most costly advice in the world is bad advice. It's your broke friend telling you how to make money. It's your single friend telling you how to fix your relationship. Stop listening to all the crap. Listen to the good stuff like what you're hearing here and other wonderful people who have done it, and get rid of the stuff you shouldn't be doing and stare at your destination like an obsession. For things to change, we have to change. For a breakthrough, we have to take the uncomfortable action to make that breakthrough happen. No one's coming to save us, right? But two things, being in Napa, looking at these vineyards, and being with my friend Brendan Bouchard made me realize what's allowed me to move on in my life is bigger thinking. See, so many times we're thinking a foot out in front of us. We're so conditioned and programmed by the outside world telling us what we can't do, or we're a dreamer, or we're not in that industry, or we're too old, or we're too young, or we're not smart enough, or I don't have enough experience, I don't have a big following, I don't have a big YouTube channel. We have all these things telling us, and what that does without us realizing it, it makes us think a little bit smaller than we should. And when I look back in my life, man, the greatest gift God, the universe gave me was I used to dream and did and still do dream bigger, to stretch my goals, to aim for the solar system and you'll land on the sun, right? So why did that? So I'm going to give you an example business-wise, but I'm going to give you an example here with these grapes. So it's pretty cool. You see these grapes here and how cool would it be to own a winery or a vineyard? I think that's so many people's dreams, just even if you don't like wine, just because it's so relaxing. But did you know that when you plant these, it takes like 7 to 8 years before they're really mature enough to produce the fruit that could make good wine? And then when you pick it and go through the process, it takes another 2 years, maybe 3, to process it, barrel it, store it, age it, put it in bottles, and ship it to stores. Think about that. Sorry, my right arm's getting numb. Think about that. Talk about big thinking. Talk about visionary thinking. It goes along with the lines of sometimes we have to plant apple trees, and apple trees, just like grapes, they don't produce fruit immediately, and they still take work. Look, they still had to plant these. They still have to irrigate these. They still have to trim them. They have to put this wire up. They have to make sure the bugs aren't here. They plant lavender so it helps with the fragrance. They have to do all that work for 7 years without results. But think year 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 15, 20, they get to create legacies. So 2 things I want to share today. 1, are you looking for things to happen quicker than they should? And then when they don't work immediately, overestimating what we can do in a year, underestimating what we can do in 5, are we saying, this doesn't work? I'm 3 months in, I'm 6 months in, I'm a year in, this doesn't work for me, I'm out. What if they said that about these grapes? What if they planted these grapes and were like, come on, you're 6 months old, give me the fruit, damn it, this isn't gonna work, burn it down. No, they know they gotta put the process, the time. So that's number 1 is let's be real. Let's not make it better than it is, but let's not make it worse than it is. The second part of my message, how I started this, is it's time to stretch your goals, to think bigger. You could do more, be more. When we decided to start doing challenges, and we're doing another big one in August for you guys, you're all invited as our guest. We're going for 1 million people. When we first did it, the biggest challenge Tony and I heard of was 100,000 people. That was the biggest one, and everybody said, oh my God, 100. I said, let's go for 1 million. Screw it, let's go for 1 million. Everybody, even though Tony's got the greatest brand in history, he's been around for 40 something years, I've been doing this for 25 years, just 1 million people, think if they were in a stadium. We put 947,000 people in. This year we're breaking 1 million. I have no doubt in my mind. The only reason I'm saying that is sometimes the same problem that could make you $5,000 is the same amount of stress, worry, and angst to make you 50,000 or 5 million. The same output, the same mental thought, the same energy, the same overcoming obstacles to do your first sale is the same as doing 500 sales. I know because I've been through this journey. I've been broker than broke, and I made my first sale, and oh my God, I still remember it. I also have done some pretty amazing things, and it's the same amount of work, the same amount of stress, so you might as well stretch your goals. So today, my quick message here so I can run off and be with my family and jump on a plane with my 2 kids is, remember these grapes. They take time, but it's worth it. Number 2, stretch your goals. Stop playing small. Stop letting the outside world dictate how big, how fast, how much impact you can make. If you would have looked at me, dyslexia, barely got out of high school, no college education, no money, family told me I was crazy, would anybody have bet on me if I was a horse in a race? Hell no. Hell no. But I had a culture of progress. I dreamed big. I modeled people who've already been there, and I took the uncomfortable action. That's why we're family. That's why you're here. Text me below that you're all in. Text me a comment, a message. I'll read every single one of these below. It's our time. The world needs us. Your family needs you. And it's time for you to reach your full potential.
Because you made it this far in a video, I want to celebrate you. Most people start and don't finish. Most people never actually follow through. Most people say they want something, but they don't ever do the work to actually get it. But you are different. You are special. Believe Nation, you made it here all the way to the end, and I love you. So as a special celebration, if you put a hashtag believe down in the comments below on this video, I will showcase you and celebrate you somewhere on the screen in a future video because you are awesome.
For 10 more amazing rules from Ed Milet, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
When you slow down and when you're successful, when you start letting yourself sit around and thinking is when you start making all your mistakes. I try to show my crappy days. I try to show the days where I'm not doing well. Fact, ironically, it's the most engaged post that I make.